south at the ramp of I-90 West because of repairs and maintenance. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland traffic.
Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studios. Fueled by True North Convenience Stores. WKRK-FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
This is 2020 Sports brought to you by Brunswick Automart. Save thousands below new car prices and over 350 premium certified and pre-owned vehicles at BrunswickAutomart.com. Cavaliers return to practice on Wednesday for the first time since they closed out the regular season on Sunday. Head coach Kenny asked if there was any motivational speeches given to the guys getting ready for the postseason run.
There's no special message. I mean, we obviously have to scout and what we're doing and what we're focusing on. There's no new Rocky kind of speech at this point. Just prepare the best we can. Kind of done our work since June, right? Trust your work. We've been at it for a long time. Almost fully healthy, so I think we're just excited.
Cavs getting ready for Game 1, opening up the playoffs against Toronto. That Game 1 will be on Saturday afternoon at Rocket Arena. NBA play-in games, Eastern Conference. Philadelphia knocked off Orlando, 109-97. Tyrese Maxey, 31 points. 76ers will be the 7th seed and face Boston. Meanwhile, Orlando takes on Charlotte tomorrow night, the winner being the 8th seed. In the West, Golden State knocked off the LA Clippers, 126-121. Steph Curry, 27 of his 35 points in the second half. Warriors will take on Phoenix for the number 8 seed tomorrow night. Darius Garland, 21 points for the Clippers, done for the season. Guardians lose to the Cardinals 5-3. St. Louis snapped a 1-all tie with 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. They take 2 of 3 in the series. Guardians lose back-to-back games for the first time this year and finish the 6-game road trip at 2-4. Browns GM Andrew Berry talks later on this morning, 11 o'clock. Catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time with Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
Right now, it would be Francis Maui-Noah, the tackle from Miami. It'd be Spencer Fano, the tackle from Utah. And then it would be Carnell Tate, the receiver from Ohio State. Those would be the 3 I'd give you for the Browns. I think if Maui-Noah and Tate both make it to 6, my guess would be that'd be a tough call for the Browns. But those would be the 3 guys that I would sort of say I've heard most associated with them.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
We're a different team. It starts with personnel. It's not the same team as last year. We obviously the 3 guys you've added. So even thinking about this Toronto, our 3 games against Toronto, it's hard to even judge those games. And Toronto played great, and they beat us and all that, but we're a different team. I've said this, I'll say it over and over, we're a better team with those additions. You'd like to think that bodes well for a nice playoff run.
I think it's probably one of the best groups going into it. We have a lot of talent, a lot of guys locked in and focused, a lot of guys with playoff experience as well. Still pretty young, so I think we're in a great spot overall.
This team has been dealing with adversity all year long, and it hasn't phased us. You know what I mean? So nothing changes. We go out there, we prepare for game 1, figure out what worked, what didn't work, and then move on from there.
There's no special message. I mean, we obviously have to scout and what we're doing and what we're focusing on. There's no new Rocky kind of speech at this point. Just prepare the best we can. Kind of done our work since June, right? Trust your work. We've been at it for a long time. Almost fully healthy, so I think we're just excited.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Good morning, Tone.
Well, hello there, Kenny.
Hi. Are you excited? Are you excited yet? Are we getting worked up yet for Game 1 or no? I'm not feeling it yet from the fan base.
I've been watching the play-in games. We'd like to say so long to Darius Garland, who was eliminated last night. Yesterday. Actually, I thought he played decently. He was in foul trouble the whole game. But
that's interesting.
Darius is out.
You want to do that now? Hell, I thought we were going to get all excited about the Cavs for. Well, I didn't know if we were going to get excited yet.
Well, it's just that's a major talking point. After the Harden trade, that I've heard so many people say, well, if the pesky Clippers and if Darius, can catch fire, and he was awesome to start the game.
Mm-hmm.
They were like triple teaming Kawhi. Darius got out to I think he was 4-4 or 5-5 from the field to start out. And I'm like, man, am I gonna wake up and Darius is gonna have 40 points and No, the Clippers coughed up a lead late. All these games have been great.
Well, they were up by 13 with like 9 minutes left to go. And then things just went to hell for them. I heard Ty Lue's post-game a little bit. He was obviously beside himself with agitation. This is the first time the Clippers have made the playoffs since, 2022. But the reason you bring it up is because of Darius Garland here. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, we have a clip of Darius in the postgame. He played 31 minutes last night. He scored 21 points. You were right. He started off hotter than hell. I think the fouls, because he got himself in foul trouble at one point, I think that might have taken a little bit off of it, obviously. But, you hear this from Darius, and I can't help but feel some sympathy. I know we sat here and fought each other, and there was a bunch of conversation about Darius in the postseason. But, like, when you hear this, you drafted the guy, people owned his jersey here. You can't help but feel bad for him.
My first trade went really well for the half of the season, man. Like I said, this organization is really great. And I just want to come out here and just really prove a point that, like, I'm still one of those guys in this league. And I'm out there on 9 toes, not even healthy for real.
It's tough because it's never getting better. It's never getting better. The Cavs had to make the move they had to make for the right player, for the best player they could. We sat there and we argued, and the whole time was, you're not going to get this dynamic wing for Darius Garland when he's got these injuries, the back, the knee, then the toe. Which some people are like, toe. I mean, I don't know. If you haven't heard from Deion Sanders lately, like it can obviously be debilitating for a player as you try to lift and as you try to push off. Like I can hobble around without a toe. That's no big deal because I ain't doing nothing physical. For them, obviously, it's a different animal. And last year in the postseason when he tried to play and he had basically the sideshow Bob shoes on that he was trying to wear to try to cover his toe, it's something he's going to deal with for his entire career. So as he deals with his entire career, like this is something you had to do. So I feel bad when I hear that audio from Darius Garland. I really do. Like there is I don't know if he's ever going to be able to reach that potential because this has been going on the better part of 2 years.
Well, and he's mentioning it, right after the game. It tells you that it's on his mind. It's been a struggle, and it's something that, if you're the Cavs, you just you have a pretty concrete window considering Donovan Mitchell's time frame and all of that. So I think people don't realize just how up against it the Cavs were in having to make these decisions because they were not just going to simply allow Darius and his body cost them in such a way where it ends up costing them Donovan Mitchell. It ends up costing them this entire window that they are trying now to take advantage of.
And you can't have this conversation all the time. Like after this segment and really after these next couple of minutes, like it's done. Because we got audio. I want everybody here. The sheriff is back in town and he's talking tough. But like this is I can't compare this to Baker Mayfield. They're not a serious playoff team right now. The Clippers. Kawhi, I don't know what his future is really. Darius, I think that again he'll play and he'll show flashes, but I think that this injury is definitely going to shorten his career. And I think this is definitely going to take away from his career. Hearing with Darius Garland there, I mean, when you're talking, it's so young that you're trying to prove you're still one of those guys. That's a tough, frustrating thing to hear for a guy like Darius Garland. But I can't make that comparison. You play at 10 o'clock at night for the most part. Not a lot of people are going to be able to watch you during the regular season. You're not going to meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals because you're not in the same ballpark there. So, yeah, like it's still, with or without Darius, the challenge is still to the Cavs. It's not just this trade for James Harden, yes.
Well, I know you said you feel sympathy for Darius.
I do.
Did you feel any, we dodged a bullet?
Well, you
any
can't,
relief? Because that's the first thing
you can't help
honestly.
it. No, you can't help it because you're a Cavs fan and you want the Cavs to do well because you want to maximize everything you have in the window. And because, honestly, I thought he was untradeable. I really thought he was untradeable because it was a conversation. What are you going to give back for Darius Garland? Well, Darius is a fine player. When healthy, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. Now, I know that he's had an up-and-down career, so I know that's a strong thing to say, and I know that you would fight back on that for the most part. But I think when healthy, he can play like one of the best point guards in the NBA. But he's very rarely healthy anymore. So now it's, well, what can we get for him? Well, we got back for him what we could get back for him, which is a former MVP, a 36-year-old former MVP, a multiple-time All-Star, and a Hall of Famer. And that's as best as we're going to get. And that's why you got to go as fast as you can, because next year he's going to be 37, and who knows what's going to happen after that. So the clock speeds up. But I think if anybody hears that audio throughout the day today, anybody hears that clip of Darius Garland, like, oh, we'll play it again in about last night. But if anybody hears that clip from Darius Garland, like, I hope there's a realization, like, yeah, man, you had to do what you had to do.
Well, not only that,
you just had to do this.
You guys remember, it was like 2 days before he got traded, or really when the rumors started, and it seemed like, oh, they're really considering this. They're really considering trading for James Harden.
Yeah.
Like, we had to start to, wrap our arms around that as being a potential thing after we had just assumed he was a guy that was part of the core and all of that. Guys, Kenny Atkinson told the team, we are not going to dwell on injuries anymore. They're basically not going to be an excuse. And this was as banged up a team as there was in the NBA this year. And he said, we are done talking about injuries. And I remember we played that audio, and I swear that 5 days later they traded Darius Garland. Mm-hmm. And what did Darius go to right after the game last night, after they were eliminated again?
His toe.
He talked about his toe. And again, not his fault. I gave him so much credit for playing through. I know people won't believe that if you just start listening to the show.
He did.
I thought he was gutting it out last year. It was so clear that he was a shell of himself in that series against the Pacers. And I almost felt like he was talked into playing just because of the conversation around him. I mean, guys on Inside the NBA were crushing the Cavs because DeAndre Hunter was out. Evan Mobley was out.
You remember last year, Stephen A. Smith, the things he was saying about Darius Garland. So I think Darius Garland hears that stuff. I mean,
so it caused him to play what he probably shouldn't have even played.
Probably not.
What was our takeaway after that series last year? Like, I don't know if you can rely on Darius.
No, exactly. And there was a question of just, again, not just his play, because some people go, he's still 6'2", he's still not very heavy. He gets shoved around a lot even when he's healthy here. But, this has been kind of a run where, we naturally have to eliminate excuses. Like, I didn't realize yesterday when they had their practice, this was the first practice James Harden has had with the entire roster in 2 months since he's been here.
Think about
this
that.
This is the first practice. Yesterday was the first time they had ever been around each other, the whole roster on the floor together, doing drills and working out and getting ready for game one of this series.
It's been all based on feel so far since they've gotten Harden.
Exactly. And if you still had Darius Garland, or if you did something, like this is a controversial thing that they've done. If you have done what a lot of the general fans wanted them to do, the things that you and I got criticized for, we're like, hey, this is the way that's got to be. They have to manipulate the seeds. They have to do what they can. Like, there were people getting in on me on Friday because I said I didn't want them to win against the Atlanta Hawks. I want this series to be the way it is. If they go out and they lose against Toronto and they lose the series, there's going to be a serious issue here. But they did the best they could, and they also did what they needed to do while they were getting healthy. Like, that has to be an underlying thing. Like, this was about as perfect as you could set it up for a team that had to deal with what they had to deal with this year.
And it's pretty crazy. You consider how talented Darius was, the way people were talking about him, not just here, when he, got off to that really, really sensational first 3 months a year ago, 2-time All-Star. We were wondering just where you could put him in the realm of point guards in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And a year later, he's on the Clippers. It's not his fault. So don't get me wrong. I mean, It wasn't his fault. But he got eliminated. They were in the play-in to begin with. They were fighting for their lives. He now only has 9 playoff wins, not series wins. We're talking playoff wins. He only has 9 in 7 years in the NBA. For Darius, for somebody as talented as him, it just goes to show how when you draft somebody with talent and you start to go crazy with the thought of, hey, how good could somebody like him be? 7 years later, we're sitting here. We had to trade him for James Harden, a guy that nobody liked watching before he got here. It's just pretty crazy to think about how this all unfolded.
And we talk about the current Cleveland Cavaliers because James Harden's a current Cleveland Cavalier. Donovan Mitchell's obviously a current Cavalier. And Evan Mobley is a current Cavalier. And ladies and gentlemen, the sheriff is talking tough yet again. Owen?
Not too much, honestly. Free mind, free focus. Been here before now multiple times and not feeling too much pressure. Just ready to be locked in and ready to go and go all the way.
He's got that bass in his voice now. He sounded a little louder there at the Cleveland Clinic courts. Talking
I think
tough, man.
One of the best groups going into it. We have a lot of talent, a lot of guys locked in and focused, a lot of guys with playoff experience as well. Still pretty young, so I think we're in a great spot overall.
I'm excited to see this, Kenny.
Hard ass.
I am really excited to see what he's going to be made of in these playoffs. You know, as we said goodbye to Darius, he was, you know, one of the youthful members of the core. We thought, now, boom, it's year 7.
Yep.
Like, these things can pass very quickly. Like, it's time for Evan to have a playoffs that we've been waiting for him to have. And I think the formula is there. You know, you look at...
What's the formula?
He has eliminated the waste from his game. He's eliminated the stuff that everybody wanted to see the last few years. Hey, I want to see three-pointers. I want to see him dribble the ball. I want to see him do unicorn things. Since the All-Star break, he's basically gotten rid of dribbling the ball on the perimeter. He's gotten rid of the three-point shooting, and he has really focused his game on catching the ball around the paint and going quick and cleaning up the scraps on the inside, you know, with more of an emphasis on rebounding and defense. And I do think it's been noticeable, and we'll see what carries through in the playoffs.
See, there's something interesting here, is that I slept for about 2 hours last night. I could not sleep because of the photos I was sending you. It started creeping into my head. We have a serpent in the front bushes, and I could not sleep last night. There's something I have in common with Scotty Barnes, though, is that we both woke up at 3 a.m., and when I hear that audio, that means that the difference is that I woke up fine. He woke up in a cold sweat, getting ready to take on Evan Mobley in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
It's been limited, but for the minutes we have played, I feel like we've played great in those minutes, and we feel very comfortable with everyone out there. And obviously, more minutes will be better, but that's what we have, and we're going to get more minutes, obviously, in the playoffs, so we're going to keep learning from there.
Clint Eastwood, John Cassavetes, Evan Eastwood, Clint Mobley, however you want to say it. It's time. Mary Kay Cabot going to join us at 8:20 this morning. Do we know anything the Browns will not do next week? Because Sal Palantonio was on the station yesterday, and wait until you hear this coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for...
courtesy of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Don't want to risk it? Purchase yours now at Cavs.com. Get details at 923thefan.com.
Get ready for a Cavs run in the Eastern Conference with the best basketball talk in Cleveland. 92.3 The Fan.
$8 your chance to win some Cavs tickets. Right? Okay, thank God. I was almost about to dump it.
If
8
not, you're going to have to pay for them yourself.
Oh, boy. Okay, the prize value. And I've paid more for shooting my mouth off. I'll let you know that. Game 1, playoff tickets. You get a pair coming up today at 8 o'clock. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs between your Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. It's coming up Saturday. And I will not be in Cleveland for that. I will be in Youngstown. Why do I need to tell you about that? You'll find out later on in this show. Because it turned into a bit of an argument out there. 216-474-0092. If this draft is so wide open, just going to ask you. I'm asking. I'm asking here. I don't know yet. Okay? Usually I'm supposed to tell you what I think and then, go backwards. If the draft is so wide open, maybe we should just stay. I heard Sal Paolantonio, ESPN, yesterday. He hosts that podcast with Greg Cosell, the TV show as well, Greg Cosell, where Greg Cosell's the film maven. He doesn't let his personal feelings get in on anything. And there is some interesting conversation about this guy at 24. I didn't realize we had to have a conversation about Kenyon Sadiq at number 6.
If I'm the Cleveland Browns and I want to try to build this offense into something that it wasn't last year, Kenyon Sadiq is sitting there when the Browns pick in the first round. He may not be. He's moving up on the board. If the Browns are there at 6 and Sadiq is available, I take him. I take him right away. You got to create matchup problems on this offense. You only scored 16 points a game last year. You only had 16 touchdown passes. There'll be plenty of wide receivers. I know people say Carnell Tate to the Browns there, and I'm all about getting guys who can put it in the end zone. You can find a lot of offensive tackles in this draft, especially lower round and first round and in the second round. You got to have matchup problems, and to me, after Love, it's the tight end out of Oregon. He ran a 4.39 at the combine. That's the fastest at the tight end position in the last 20 years. He is a very aggressive player, big and strong. He will patrol the middle of the field, which will help the run game and help your quarterback, whoever's going to play quarterback for your football team. So I think this guy can do a lot of things for your offense. Just put him on the field, line him up anywhere.
Sal Powell ain't drunk and dirty. I think he does make a valid point there. Where I don't think I'd take him at 6. I got to tell you. Now he's saying if Carnell Tate's not there at 6, maybe you take Kenyon Sadiq. But this is kind of the symptoms of the draft here. Is that there's no real blue chippers. I don't know. Did you see the Eric DeCosta article, the article that featured him with Pro Football Talk, where they're like, he says that after the second half or after the first half of the first round, he says the talent falls off a cliff. Now,
in every draft of this draft,
he says this one. Now, maybe that's you. I think people can be critical of Eric DeCosta. I think that there's been some. I think there's been a little bit where he's lived off the reputation of Ozzie Newsome. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But it is a general manager coming out and saying something like that about the talent in this draft. When you hear that from Sal Powell, just because we haven't brought up Kenyon Sadiq that much, we talked about him at 24 during the early parts of the draft process with Ryan Wilson. Ryan's always really liked him. He is a matchup problem, without a doubt. He has tight end next to his name, and because he has tight end next to his name, everybody goes, well, guys, we have Harold Fannin, for crying out loud. What are we talking about? Yeah, but you can split him out. You can do different things. He has a tendency to bring linebackers with him. That creates a mismatch because he's obviously quicker than what you would deal with an off-ball linebacker, even an off-ball linebacker who's really quick. I know I'm going into the weeds here. I don't feel the need to defend Sal Powell for his comment. It just came out of left field to the point where Keith texted us yesterday. He was like, whoa, my God. And I had to go back and listen while I was battling the serpent to go back and hear Sal Paolantonio say that about Kenyon Sadiq, which I got to tell you, I was shocked. I thought we might talk about him mid-round. I thought a trade up from 24 somewhere in there if you really wanted to go after the guy at like 20. But at number 6 overall, remember, this is under the guys that that Carnell Tate would not be there at number 6 overall. And I'm thinking, man, if this draft is so wide open, how can I really trade back if it's showing me that I don't know how many teams are going to really want to trade up.
Well, it also sounded like Sal Pal thought the Browns should take the tight end over Carnell Tate. That's what it sounded like to me in that clip.
It sounded like to me that he was saying Carnell Tate. I thought he was saying during the interview. I might have misheard it both times, but I thought he was saying that if Carnell Tate is not there, then you take Kenyon Sadiq at number 6.
Yeah, just to me, this would make no sense. If we're sitting here punting on the wide receiver and the offensive line, allowing all the other teams to get in the way of whoever might fall down, then, man, if you did something like this, then I definitely think you'd have to trade up from 24, just because you have these two obvious positions of need. And I know, Kenny, you like to talk about, well, just adding good football players. Yeah, but that's not all you do in a draft. You don't just try to draft good football players. You also have to manage a roster. And where are the Browns going to get these positions of need they so desperately need when they're sitting here year after year bypassing wide receiver, offensive line? You can't just trade for all those guys.
No, you can't.
At some point, you've got to take them. And this is a draft where you have, you're sitting there at number 6. I agree with you that it does seem, the way that guys talk about this draft, that so many guys, there's just nobody stands out, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the ultimate problem with this draft, is that nobody jumps up right in front of you where you're like, well, we can't possibly let this guy go. And because they need those positions, they've just so drastically ignored those positions for so long. It kind of forces your hand here in this draft. And so I can't go tight end, just the same way that I talked about at number 6. I can't just do that and allow all these other teams to essentially steer you into a player later on that just doesn't make sense to me.
So because of the position he plays, it doesn't make sense?
Position matters. And they cannot sit here and bypass and ignore offensive line and wide receiver again when they're sitting there at number 6. They just can't do it.
But this is my issue with it, is that I don't think that we need to be so close-minded about it just because of the position. Now, you could...
I think they're left to be close-minded based on what they haven't done over the last 3 years.
Okay,
I think now they have to be close-minded.
I'm going to usually get in a shouting match with you. I'm not going to do it here because I'm not going to allow myself to do it, because I think you make a valid point here. If we were talking about... I think that some of these teams get their reputations a little bit, like I was talking about Eric DeCosta living off Ozzie Newsome a little bit, so maybe I want to use... Let's just use Seattle as an example. Seattle has the slack to be able to go out and go, hey, I know this guy's a tight end, but we can do things with him differently in the offense here, and we can split him out. Jeremiah Love, I know this guy's a running back. There's no trust with the Browns. So me making that argument, you see, this is part of it. This is what the uphill battle I had with Jeremiah Love, like just opening up the consideration for him. It's the Browns. You've drafted 2 running backs last year, and then if you're going to talk about a quote-unquote running back, even though you can do all these things, like Coach Lance almost every Tuesday is saying how all these things you could do with Jeremiah Love that you can't just do with a traditional running back, and frankly, what you can't do with Quinshon Judkins. It doesn't matter because it's thinking, well, you don't have a plan in the draft then, and you don't trust the Browns to be able to get out everything that he can do within an offense there. So I think I'm hearing what you're saying here. You just don't trust the Browns.
Like can you put it this way?
Which is, no, there's no reason to.
They had, by all accounts, they had a really good draft last year. Uh-huh. Okay? I mean, I saw people comparing it to some of the great drafts. Okay, but
it's a tremendous one.
But then
that's why Andrew Berry's still here.
And they took good football players. But then the roster management side of this, where you took, hey, we all like Quinshon Judkins, but then you took another running back. Nobody really wanted who they took in the 3rd round, but then he took another quarterback. And it's like, this is where you get to where if you followed up the following year and then either take a running back or a tight end, then it's like, 2 straight years, you're going to do this. You're going to double down on these positions.
And that's why...
When they are not premium positions.
And that's one of the reasons why, I can't sit there and pound the table and say that this is... Like, I'll pound the table all day long for Carnell Tate, which I told you there were some people who got a hold of it and goes, oh, where's he a host at? He's a host in Cleveland. I'm like, yeah, you guys... I'm sorry, guys. Arizona sports radio doesn't understand the whole dynamic of me being called a Michigan fan for crying out loud, but that's a conversation for another day. When it gets broken down to what this football team is, I think that, again, I have to stand down and say, I can't make an argument. I can only go on what I like, and I can only go on what I would do. I would only argue with you that you should do what you believe. Is just because his position is listed as tight end or his position is listed as running back, talking about Jeremiah Love now, bringing him into the conversation, do you just avoid it? Would you avoid it? I don't want you or Owen or John or Jeff or anybody else to avoid those guys just because I would expect us to be creative to a way where we can use these guys as weapons. However, with the Browns and the limitations that we believe they have and the limitations of the trust that we have in them, yeah, I know that this is an uphill battle. Kenyon Sadiq is a very strong, very fast tight end, and he can do things for you that I don't think that a lot of other tight ends, quote unquote, can do for you. You do have Harold Fannin Jr., who we're very excited about. I don't want to overthink it as well. I don't think I would take Kenyon Sadiq at number 6 overall, but I just hear these names, and the only name, just because of the investment that comes with him, the only name I just cross out and say absolutely not to has been Ty Simpson. Anywhere in the first round, just because of the investment that ties into a quarterback. But everybody else, I just feel we need to have an open mind. I feel we need to have an open mind. Like Blake Miller, yeah, I know Blake Miller played all right tackle in college except for one game. I know that he played left tackle for 4 years, from 14 years old before that. I think there's some versatility there. I think there's leadership qualities there. But I don't think I don't think I said yesterday, I didn't call anybody stupid for disagreeing, because I think that this is a wide open draft, and I'm looking for somebody solid. And to take a guy like Kenyon Sadiq at number 6, you got to really trust Todd Monkin, man. You got to really trust him. And then you got to really trust the quarterback to be able to get the ball in his hands. And those are two things that I think a lot of people trust Todd Monkin much more just because he's a first-year head coach with the Cleveland Browns than they would in any sort of common sense in real life. 216-474-0092. Well, I didn't even get to ask what I wanted to ask. Do you just want to stay put because of that? I want you to answer that in 5 minutes, okay? Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. And we might be focused on the wrong opponents. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. You might be
on Route 2 westbound and right before Edgewater Park. There's an accident that's impacting the right lane. Jeff Thomas, Odyssey Cleveland Traffic.
There's only one place to hear breaking Browns news. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
So I asked you a question, and then I wanted to ask you a question. We went in a completely different direction just because of how wild the draft is. Let me get back to business here. I want to play that Sal Powell again coming up here in just a moment, because if you're just joining us, we're getting some wild names 1 week away from the NFL draft. We also have Cavs tickets coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Your chance to win Cavs Raptors tickets and
Game one
of the Cavs Raptors coming up on Saturday. You can win tickets to that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. And listen, I will forget about Kyle Manzardo getting thrown out yesterday. I will never forget Kenny Lofton getting held up. That's all I'm going to say coming up at 7:22 this morning. So, because this is so wild, I'm going to play that Sal Paolantonio clip here in a second again. But do you think we should just stay put because I got to have two to tango, and because I got Eric DeCosta saying, well, halfway through the draft, the talent seems to really fall off, which, boy, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens that get drafted in day 2 and day 3. Do you just want to stay? Because it's like, well, what am I trading back for? Am I just getting worse picks in the first and second and third round of a bad draft?
You're just getting more cracks at it, right? That's all the draft is supposed to be.
I guess so.
You take as many shots as you can, and you hope, because we all recognize at some point there is a lot of crapshoot going on.
General managers are all arrogant men, and I understand that you believe in your scouting system, but at some point there has to be a law of diminishing returns, doesn't it? So does this make you just want to stay put, or do you want to wheel and deal?
Yeah, I mean, the way that it's been conveyed to me, and look, you'll be hard pressed to find consensus on a lot of this stuff. You go back and look at whether it's Dane Brugler, Matt Miller, Daniel Jeremiah. Back in the day it was Mel Kiper, and who was over at the NFL Network that ended up actually getting a job, doing this for a living. Who was the antithesis of Mel Kiper that was on the NFL Network? I can't remember his name.
Frank Schwab.
But
Daniel Jeremiah.
So you have all
Louis
these guys,
Riddick.
and then you can't really find the consensus on a lot of these, looking back. And yet this year, it does seem to be a consensus that nobody stands out. This is such a non-standout draft. And yes, it happens to be a draft where we have 2 picks in the first round. And again, I would do that trade all over again last year, too. Yeah. I mean, right now, the Browns are looking like geniuses, even though they traded to get a second first round pick in this draft, which nobody seems enamored with.
But we didn't think it was going to be that way. We really thought there was going to be a 5 quarterback class. That's why a lot of folks are warning about in 2027, because they're talking about 8 first round quarterbacks.
I know. And Jeremiah Smith, a part of next year's draft as well. So with all of that said, I think the thought process is, because nobody stands out at the premium positions, that if you can just trade down, and we're not talking about like trading to the bottom of the first round or anything, but if you could trade down, where are the Cowboys picking? 12? That if you could get down to 12, there's no real loss there. You're still picking basically from 1 to 12, from I guess you'd say from 2 to 12, because Mendoza's going number 1 overall, that there's no drop-off. So if there's no drop-off, then if you can finagle your way back there and get another first-round pick in this draft, then now you just got another swing for free almost. That's the thought process behind trading down, I think.
Here is Sal Paolantonio, ESPN, yesterday on Baskin and Phelps. He says, Kenyon Sadiq at number 6. I want to listen to this again closely, because I might have misheard it yesterday and this morning. I want to clarify something about Carnell Tate in this clip here. Go ahead.
If I'm the Cleveland Browns and I want to try to build this offense into something that it wasn't last year, Kenyon Sadiq is sitting there when the Browns pick in the first round. He may not be. He's moving up on the board. If the Browns are there at 6 and Sadiq is available, I take him. I take him right away. You got to create matchup problems on this offense. You only scored 16 points a game last year. You only had 16 touchdown passes. There'll be plenty of wide receivers. I know people say Carnell Tate to the Browns there, and I'm all about getting guys who can put it in the end zone. You can find a lot of offensive tackles in this draft, especially lower round and first round and in the second round. You got to have matchup problems. And to me, after Love, it's the tight end out of Oregon. You know, he ran a 4.39 at the combine. That's the fastest at the tight end position in the last 20 years. He is a very aggressive player, big and strong. He will patrol the middle of the field, which will help the run game and help your quarterback, whoever's going to play quarterback for your football team. So I think this guy can do a lot of things for your offense. Just put him on the field, line him up anywhere.
The annual fan mock draft is tonight, by the way. Game on in North Olmsted, 7 p.m. Even if you don't have a team, stop on out because sometimes people don't show up and you might be able to get yourself a team. And still, it's a great time with Bud Light and everybody at 92.3 The Fan. So I got confused. I beg your pardon. I am so one track on Carnell Tate. I made a mistake yesterday and a mistake here, and I apologize to everybody. He said Love. I put 4 letters together and just thought Tate. I apologize. So he's saying over Carnell Tate is what he's saying.
Aren't you hearing, when you hear that from Sal Pal, and there is a huge rise going on right now, and this always happens every year. There's some guys that get talked up. There's some guys that we feel like fall down. And then when you actually talk to the people that do this for a living later, they're like, those draft boards didn't change. Just because guys started getting more animated and having more vociferous conversations about them, that doesn't really mean there's movement on the draft board. But you know what I hear in all of this? I hear Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts got all the way up to number 4.
LeBron James and cleats.
And they were talking about him. You're exactly right. Matchup problem.
He's still got plenty of great potential. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And, Kyle Pitts isn't some terrible player or anything like that. But at number 4 overall, when you're a bad team and you're taking tight ends, I kind of feel like that's the same situation here. Think about it. They had Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Those two are good players. Those two are good football players. Kenny, they're 2 good football players. But is that roster management? Is that good? Is that helping you advance to where you're actually able to win games? You know, yeah, you have matchup problems. That's great. But tight end is not that premium position. Running back is not that premium position. So it doesn't, to me, equate to winning football games. I know those are the guys you'll see in highlights. When you go to the highlights on YouTube or the NFL breakdown, you'll see those guys go, that's a good highlight. That's good.
If you don't have guys who can get it to him, I mean, we can get Carnell Tate, and I'm taking Carnell Tate at 6, knowing wholeheartedly that we could put Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel or anybody else out there, and they might not be able to get to him, and it's going to feel like a wasted pick. I mean, good God. I mean, look at Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Jerry Jeudy thinks that we're all wrong. Jerry Jeudy believes that he's still a great player. He just can't have a quarterback that gets the ball to him. 216-474-0092. I can't guarantee that a team's gonna move up. It does. It makes me kind of want to stick around and go, well, what's the point of trading back and getting 2 whacks at a bad draft? You have to have a lot of faith in this front office. And how many Browns fans out there listening have faith in this front office? 1 out of 10? I mean, what's the approval rating of Andrew Berry?
But when you don't have faith, doesn't it say, hey, throw more darts? Like, if you don't have faith in a GM, don't you want him to get another opportunity?
If I don't trust the GM, then I'm thinking giving you more picks. It's like the Glengarry Glen Ross leads. Giving them to you would just be throwing them away. When you get to Rodney and Litchfield, you're first up on the fan.
Well, guys, I've been saying for 20 years, looking at the teams that have been good the last 20 years, Steelers, the Patriots in general, they trade down, they accumulate draft picks. There is no magic formula to pick a guy and say, this is the guy. I was ecstatic with what they did last year. Ecstatic. They picked up a defensive lineman. They moved down. The draft was good. There's no guarantee at any of these numbers. There's no guarantee at number 1 that kid's going to be good from Indiana. No guarantee. And I agree with the guy, one of the other guys on there, sorry about the name. The more picks you have, the better chance that you have of getting players. I don't care if you're the Seattle team. I don't care if you're the Steelers.
But let me ask you this, Rodney. Yeah. Rodney, you make I'm not disagreeing with you because in general, I think you're right. I don't think anybody disagrees with you. But let me ask you this, Rodney. You trust you, and I trust you. It's a good plan. Do you trust Andrew Berry with even more picks? Now, last year might give you a little bit of trust, but I want to know that answer.
I trust him more with more picks than I trust him with less picks.
Fair point. I like it. Rodney? Go ahead.
Last year, my friends complained. We had a text link going, oh, my God, we didn't grab Hunter. And I'm saying we just picked up another first-round pick. We're not ready to win anything yet. We need linemen still. We need good offensive linemen.
Great point. Yeah.
That's how you win football games. Did anybody watch the championship last year? And I know it was college. Did anybody watch the pro championship game? How about last year? I mean, God, they destroyed, was it Philadelphia? Who won it last year in the Super Bowl 2 years ago?
Philadelphia destroyed Kansas City 2 years ago, and then this last year was Seattle.
Yeah, a Hall of Fame quarterback couldn't get out of his own way because the line was good.
Rodney?
The defensive line was better than the offensive line.
It's hard for me to fight you on that, Rodney. Thank you very much for the call. I don't think I want to. Because you would say, well, even if you didn't trust him, wouldn't you want to give him more whacks at it? Because if all we're doing is trading down, it's not costing me anything but more picks. 216-474-0092. I want to get to some of you guys on this. There's still people want to get in. Should we just stay put if it's not that great of a draft? You hear Southpaw saying even Kenyon Sadiq over Carnell Tate. That's outrageous. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we got a chance to win some Cavs-Raptors tickets. Game 1 on Saturday. You can win those tickets. And are we focused on the wrong opponents with this Cavaliers team? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Watch us for free. YouTube Live. It's Fat and Thin in the morning.
7 o'clock. Be sure to catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, your chance to win some Cavs tickets. Hell yeah. Also, speaking of the Cavs, every Cavs conversation brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside Hard Iced Tea, who ask you to please enjoy that hard iced tea responsibly. 21 and older, please. So Owen brought up something during the break. I want to get to a clip from Howard Beck where we might be focused on the wrong opponents here, but Owen brought up something during the break. He's like, hey, man, you guys can't just keep trading out. You got to eventually make a pick. You can't just be taking chances.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I think if they Thursday night kicks off and they go, we've traded down, everyone goes, hooray, right?
Uh-huh.
Especially if they add a next year's first-round pick to that, right?
Yeah.
That's a big win. But between now and next Thursday, we can't just go, the plan is to trade down. See you Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are shows to do. So you have to have, like, I don't know that Sadiq's, to me, that's crazy to take him at 6, but you have to have these conversations right now.
And you also, I don't know if there's any draft, unless you were just taking a bunch of high school players out of nowhere one day. Any draft, you're going to want first-round picks because you're going to want control over guys. I mean, you're going to want that fifth year in there and be able to have some control over some guys because you get into the second round because one thought you're going, well, it's a second-round pick in 2027 worth more. No, it's not. It's not worth more than a first-round pick in 2026. You want to take a first-round pick. And I think you guys are right. That's why I'm glad I asked the question instead of shooting my mouth off first. I think Rodney and Litchfield had a hell of a point. I think you had a hell of a point, Tone, where it's like, well, I know a lot of people don't have much faith in Andrew Berry. I think his approval rating's probably somewhere in the 20s. We're getting ready for the draft. He's speaking today at 11. Maybe it'll go up by the end of the day, right? We'll carry that live on the Fan, I hope. Hopefully I'm not saying things I have to take back later on. But you guys are right. Hey, Ken, you don't trust Andrew Berry. This last draft was good, but I don't think I do. Okay, so we want to give him less picks to work with? Make those picks even more important? So if you could trade back and get some more picks, and I know if you trade with the Cowboys, everybody mentions the Cowboys. I think part of the reason people mention the Cowboys is just because the Cowboys are nuts. But say you trade back with the Cowboys. Is there a possibility you get more first-round picks? Yeah. Is there a possibility you get more picks, more wax at it? And maybe this hot streak that he's on, Andrew Berry's on, maybe it continues today, and we're laughing by the end of this football season.
Yeah,
look, everything can't be doom and gloom. I know no one has a lot of faith in the team. It can't all be terrible.
Owen said before we came back off the air, he's like, you cannot reach for an offensive lineman. That is the thing I keep coming back to because I was trying to be really open-minded, a couple of weeks ago where I'm like, well, if you're telling me the draft isn't good, then and the Browns aren't really supposed to be good this year, why can't I take an offensive lineman that's a project? But the more and more you guys talk about Freeling and his issues, I'm like, man, it would look really, really bad if they took a guy who wasn't even ready to start the year when they have these obvious needs. So I do think you guys won me over.
But if you have a third first-round pick some way, somehow, like I do think 2 first-round picks. I don't think that way, but I think a lot of fans are like, man, you got to start both these guys. But 3, if you somehow get 3 first-round picks out of it, I think that maybe they do think it's okay to kind of maybe wait on a guy like Monroe Freeling if he were to fall, if people weren't to trust him. But I think a team that takes him doesn't necessarily. I think a team that takes him probably ends up being a really good team because they know they don't have to start him right off the bat. For us, we got to find guys. That's part of the reason I said Blake Miller. I think he's going to be able to be plug and play almost wherever you put him. And maybe I'll end up being wrong. I mean, guys get it wrong all the time, but that's part of the reason. Just because I think that so many folks look at it. You go, you're 6-24. You have 2 first-rounders, and even though it's not a great draft, I think people are convinced that they just both have to play week 1, and especially at number 6 overall. I mean, you take that guy. How would you feel as a Browns fan if I'm sitting there telling you at number 6 overall, yeah, he could be a great player. He ain't going to play for you week 1. He's going to be standing on the sidelines when the offense takes the field. Yeah, that's not going to be a fun thing to talk about with Browns fans. Let me get to Alvis in Cleveland. Alvis, you're first up on the Fan. Yellow.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Glad to have you, Alvis. Go right on ahead.
Yeah, man. It's just this front office is so wishy-washy, man. I really don't trust him, man, with more picks. I think he should just stay with the picks he have and just build from there. You know, if Carnell Tate is there, everybody keep on saying his time wasn't fast on the 40 or whatever. But Puka Nacua, he didn't run a fast 40 time. And look what he's one of the best receivers in the NFL.
I mean, I can't have a guy running a 5.2 out there for crying out loud. But I agree with you, Alvis.
Of course not. Of course not a 5.
I'm being sarcastic, but I'm saying I agree with you, Alvis. Like I think that some people look at the 40s and it's like, man, again, Anthony Schwartz could outrun anybody in this universe, and he couldn't catch a damn cold.
And he couldn't catch a damn cold. Exactly. It's all about, for real, with the receiver. When you evaluate receiver and things, it's all about who can get separation. None of the receivers last year that we had could get separation. That's why the ball can't get to Jerry Jeudy, because he can't get separation and he can't catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if Carnell Tate or the other dude they talking about is at 6, get the best receiver at that point, because no matter who we have at the quarterback, we need someone to throw the ball to. We need someone with height. We never draft receivers that have height. That's another thing. We never draft receivers that have height that can go up and get the ball. Only one that they really drafted, he's a tight end. That's Harold Fannin. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I really just don't trust Andrew Berry, man. I just think they should just stay where they're at and just build from there.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is a tall draft when it comes to wide receivers. I think the only wide receiver on this top 10 list that I have here that's under 6 feet tall is Mekhi Lemon, and he's still a really good wide receiver in his own right. I mean, everybody else is 6 feet or above, according to the official measurements there. So I think you'll be able to go up and get somebody else. But like Corey Coleman ran like a 4.3 40. And because he runs a 4.52, well, Carnell Tate can't play it because Carnell Tate's going to be able to catch everything Corey Coleman wasn't able to catch. We'll get back to the Browns coming up, obviously. Mary Kay Cabot going to join us at 8:20 this morning. Yesterday, Howard Beck was on with Baskin Phelps. Howard Beck was on with Baskin Phelps. Maybe we are focused on the wrong opponents.
The Pistons are the worthy favorites in the East by virtue of their record, but also like they had their introduction to the playoffs last year, lost to the Knicks in 6. They could have won that series, the Pistons. Yeah, they've got their holes, but everybody does. And so I thought they weren't getting enough credit.
Are we overrating or underrating the Pistons, and are we overlooking Toronto, Detroit, just to get to Boston? As you know what, I don't think fans are doing it as much. Like you and I are kind of fighting the good fight. Do people think we are overlooking Toronto and would probably be Detroit in the second round?
Well, overlook is an interesting word, because I would say, like I've said all along, like a Detroit series would be an absolute war, be a slugfest.
Well, it's going to get physical, yes.
And you know, I do think they're going to be close games. I think they're going to be, you know, kind of games that you better be willing to get down in the mud, roll up your sleeves, and you know, all the football analogies really would apply to a series like that. But I still think the Cavs have more talent, like top-end talent, especially we'll see how Cade Cunningham handles, you know, being off as long as he is. And now we had a quick ramp up for him, and now it's the playoffs. And look, you look up and down the roster, and my whole life in the NBA, you know, playoff experience is supposed to matter. I did say yesterday, you do have the one example of like LeBron in 2007. That was a once-in-a-lifetime situation where he was able to put a team on his back and take them to the finals, and then they were outclassed. But just to get there was such an enormous anomaly. Typically, you've got to have guys that, you know, the success tends to be like linear year over year. You know, you same thing with the Warriors back in the day. Like you saw the Warriors kind of make their way through and take the steps. And the Pistons really haven't done that yet. They had a phenomenal regular season. After Cunningham went down, for them to be able to hang on to the 1 seed, I didn't see that coming. Mm-hmm. So I give them their just due. But in a lot of ways, you know, that was the Cavs a year ago. The Cavs were able to win so many regular season games. And yeah, I started to believe in that Cavs team and started to think, okay, yeah, they have some flaws, like Howard Beck talks about the Pistons' flaws, who I'll get to in a second. But in the end, you know, the Cavaliers fell short last year. Obviously, injuries were part of it too. They weren't necessarily ready. This Pistons team, I would be stunned if they are able to make it through 3 rounds, given their limitations offensively. And when it comes to having that top-end playoff talent, I just don't see it on their roster right now. And I feel like they need to kind of graduate from those steps that you typically need to see in the NBA.
216-474-0092. I also think Detroit, after their first-round opponent, is probably going to be pretty confident after that first-round opponent here, because it's their first trip into the postseason. And I can say, well, the Cavs got a lot more experience in the postseason than they do. I mean, flatly, you should be able to beat Toronto in 4 or 5 games. You should be able to do that, especially with some of the injuries that they have. They're new to the playoffs. You're older to the playoffs. You got older during the season. You have that experience, and now you're basically as healthy as you're going to be. I know we're still monitoring Jared Allen in so many ways, but again, James Harden had his first practice with the entire roster because of health reasons just yesterday, as they were shooting around and getting ready for the Toronto Raptors coming up on Saturday. Again, you could win tickets to that game coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Detroit will be more confident when you get to that second round. I don't think that we are overlooking either of those teams. I just think we know the stakes. So, yeah, I talk about Boston so much because it's just where you have to go. Because if you don't, we're going to be saying some really crazy things coming up this summer about this team. And I just don't. Honestly, I'm trying to avoid any of that because I think that once you get to Boston, or even the Eastern Conference Finals, say Boston loses, whatever. If you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, then we can have a conversation about keeping things together and not going crazy. You lose to Detroit. Detroit's a really good regular season team. They had a really great regular season. Toronto is certainly on the rise, but you lose to either one of those teams in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, you're in a lot of trouble as an organization.
I agree.
216-474-0092. All right, 8 o'clock, your chance to win some Cavs-Raptors tickets at Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs, and you can be mad about yesterday, okay? Let me tell you this. I will forget about Kyle Manzardo getting thrown out. I will never forget Kenny Lofton getting held up. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. It's the number 10 in the morning on The Fan.
series. Bo Naylor had a 2-run double in the loss. The Guardians dropping back-to-back games for the first time this season and finished the road trip at 2-4. Browns GM Andrew Berry talks this morning, 11 o'clock. Catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Be mean Lima, be mean Lima. Do mean Lima.
No,
come on,
Kenny,
get mean.
that's unbecoming.
Get mean. Yeah, I want you mean.
That's not me.
Yes, it's you.
It's not in
yes,
my
it's you.
DNA.
I want you mean. I want you belittling. I want you nasty. Come on, do it. Do
Listen,
it.
I have tried to handle all of these discussions with class, but as I'm watching the play-in games and I'm watching all these bottom feeders,
I want classless Lima.
These bottom feeders in the NBA struggling just to try and get themselves in the tournament that is the NBA Finals chase. I'm sitting here being a Cavs fan going, man, sucks to be them, in the words of the great Ken Carman. Sucks to be them. Sucks
I haven't
to be
said that in years.
Sucks to be Darius and Kawhi, who are bye-bye eliminated from this year's playoff chase. Sucks to be them. I watched Orlando.
Got more from Darius coming up in about last night at 7:45.
I watched Orlando yesterday, and they're going to have one more game with their season on the line, but it looks like bye-bye Orlando. Jalen Suggs, who I don't know what happened to him. He looks terrible. I know he shaved his hair.
Didn't you want Jalen Suggs?
Did.
Somebody tweeted that at me last night. I was like, I don't remember that.
I did want Suggs, but, we're sitting here for like 5 years into his career. They look like they're going nowhere fast.
Did you just say he sucks?
I mean, last night he sucked. They sucked. I mean, watching them.
I love
Paulo Banchero, who, when he went toe-to-toe against... What's
you
that?
don't know ball.
I mean, they went toe-to-toe with us a few years ago, and I'm like, Paulo Banchero is going to be a problem, as the kids say, for years to come. No, he's not. He looked disinterested. He has lost his athleticism, his burst.
Lost his burst and his athleticism.
I don't know
He
what
had
happened.
all this great stuff to say about all these players, and now he thinks he sucks. I guess, Anthony, it looks like you don't know ball.
I guess I don't.
You don't know ball.
Can we tell everybody what you did with that clip yesterday?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay,
I want to
never
get to
mind.
This. So I'm
You didn't hear
I'm
that.
watching these other teams, and everybody said, why couldn't the Cavs be the Charlotte Hornets? The Hornets have been, statistically, when it comes to the advanced ratings, the second half of the year, they were ahead of the Cavs in all these categories, and they were on the brink of being eliminated by the 10 seed Miami Heat. And I'm like, no, I think the Cavs are in good standing. I think I'd rather be the Cavs than the Hornets. And then I look at the bracket. On the other side, the Lakers. Ooh, the Lakers. They had higher championship odds than the Cavs, before those injuries. And now I'm like, no, rather be the Cavs. Rather be the Cavs because I think the Lakers are about to get eliminated in their series against the Houston Rockets.
Books, you don't know ball.
Yes, they don't. Cavs are sitting here as the 5th best championship odds right now. They're ahead of the Knicks from what I see. And yet everybody's telling me that they're down on the Cavs. And I'm like, man, outside of Oklahoma City and San Antonio and Boston, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty damn good to be a Cavaliers fan today while all these other teams are fighting for their lives. I feel pretty good.
Tough talking tone.
And all those picking against him.
You don't know ball.
Funny thing is, everybody's picking the Cavs to beat the Raptors. I haven't seen one person yet outside of the city of Toronto say the Raptors are going to win.
Bhatia?
Maybe Nav. Even him. I feel like he's
I think even Nav in a quiet
responsible
moment would
fan.
be responsible and say, no, they're not going to win.
So while all these
That
people
guy
in Cleveland
raptorizes.
Yes, he does.
seem to be down on our Cavs, everybody seems to be picking the Cavs outside of Cleveland. So just take that for what it's worth. Feel pretty good today, Kenny.
Yes, you do. He feels so confident, he says, I don't even need to watch the game. More on that coming up later on in the show. Or most of the game, I should correct myself. Kyle Manzardo got sent home from third base yesterday. 4th inning. Things actually absolutely went to hell in the 4th inning. And it was still a 1-1 game. It really went to hell in the 6th.
It should have not been a... I mean,
yes.
You said Manzardo. They were sending everybody every time yesterday.
So this is the second time I've noticed. The first time was against Kansas City, and they sent Rugi Odor sent Gabby Arias home, and he got gunned at the plate. And then yesterday, I don't know what they were thinking. Kyle Manzardo isn't the slowest man in the world, but he certainly isn't the fastest. And if you got guys chugging around third base, and you got the cutoff man holding the baseball, I think there's about 3 more Guardians and probably some retired ones I could think of before Kyle Manzardo. I would send him down to home to try to break this game open to get a 2-1 lead. However, now that I've said that, let me walk it back just a little bit. Thought about this. Like, it was the worst 4th inning I've seen in a while, or at least an ending to an inning I've seen in a while, where then you have Juan Brito up. He challenges a call. That gets sustained, so you lose a challenge. And then the next one, the Cardinals challenge a ball. That gets called a strike. It's the end of the inning. Terrible way to end an inning in a 1-1 game. In a game that, by the way, Keith and other shows can hammer us all they want about loss of the year the night before. But you know what? Now you've lost a series, and this is the first time in all year you've lost 2 in a row.
The series, yeah, you should have won the series. They were an out away from winning that series. There was a lot of blame to go around yesterday. And I saw when they lost yesterday.
The chickens are coming home to roost, everybody.
I saw a lot of people circling back to that game, which made me feel even better about our opinion that was the worst loss of the year. I know the afternoon show tried to poo-poo an April loss. It seemed like it was weighing on them very heavily yesterday as they ended up falling in that series. It wasn't just the Manzardo, and it's funny, they were all wearing 42, obviously, as an ode, as an homage to the late, great Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
Which is very cool that they do that, although I must admit, like, if somebody was in a bar, day drinking, watching the game, looking up, and every time they looked up, they saw somebody being gunned down wearing number 42.
Well, they even mentioned that on the broadcast yesterday. They were like, oh, wait, okay. Like, because you only see it from the booth, and it's like, well, you got to kind of look in there and go, okay, where are we at in the order here? Okay, that's who it is.
And, Quan obviously tried to come home. That Ramirez liner up the middle, that was just bad fortunes. That was in the first inning. Then Schneemann caught stealing in the second. Rocchio, again, this was nobody's fault, just doubled off on first base on one of those quick liners. Nothing you could do about that. But it just seemed like they gave away so many opportunities in the first few innings of that game.
Slade Ciccone had a good outing. Slade Ciccone had, compared to the other outings, he had a damn good outing.
50 pitches after 2 innings.
Well, but then it started raining, and they took him out after the 5th. Yeah,
I would still much rather live by being aggressive on the base pass, or die by being aggressive on the base pass than live being just.
You sound like a little league coach there.
No, this is my issue.
Make him make the throw.
Because
of course,
when you only get mad.
No, I'm referring specifically like to the line out double play and things like that. Like if you go stand on the bag, you're not going to get doubled off.
I want him
You're
to
not going to score many runs that way either.
I want Rugi Odor to be aggressive down there, but I don't want him to be dumb. The cutoff guy was holding the ball. Like, this ain't going to be a play at the plate, brother. And so I think that, and I go, well, I'm pretty positive I will forget about Kyle Manzardo getting thrown out at home plate in an April baseball game on the road. And I'm pretty positive I will forget about Gabby Arias getting thrown out against the Kansas City Royals. In fact, off the top of my head, I'm not even sure it was against Kansas City. So what do you think about that? I will never forget Kenny Lofton being held up at third base. Ever, 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 and neither will you. So I guess it's always going to be best policy because I could look at it, Rugi Odor's side of it, and goes, oh, it was raining. Slippery ball. They were messing around with the pitcher's mound between innings, throwing that dry stuff down they throw down from pitcher's mounds or something when it's starting to get rainy. It was raining out there. They're trying not to stop the game. It's a getaway game. They got to get this thing in. You hit a ball out to left field. It's slippery, kind of bad out there. It was a bad send. But maybe you take your chances a little bit. I can understand a little bit. Plus, you do want to be aggressive. Because would you rather get thrown out at third, or would you rather get thrown out at home, or have happen what ends up happening where, all right, we got runners at second and third, and then you just pop out or strike out looking or God knows what. Like, at least I made the guy have to make a good throw, did I not, if I'm Rugi Odor?
Yeah, well, it seems like guys have been able to make good throws against us.
Well, it's only been a couple times. You don't remember when they score all the time.
Right, that's true. Just looking at this team in totality so far early, which sounds so silly to say totality. You are in April. But they played one of the tougher schedules in baseball. And if I would have told you before the season started that at this stage, following all those teams, whether it's the Cubs, the Mariners, the Dodgers, and this Cardinals team wasn't supposed to be great, but, they're above 500. So they're playing all legitimate teams to start out the year. If I would have told you they'd be above 500 after this stretch, I think you would have taken it. I mean, honestly, I think you would have taken it.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of things they can do better. There's no questioning that. Bullpen has showed, I think they were a little taxed over the last week, and, you saw some guys that were unhittable, kind of just a little cracks, but it's just so early. It's nothing.
Are you
that
worried
I'm
about the
panicked
bullpen, or is it just it's early? It's April.
I think they're still stretching out guys and still trying to figure out who their go-to guys are going to be eventually. You don't have to solve that issue in April, but overall, I feel pretty good about this team. Where they are, but it. Their best baseball is still obviously very much ahead of them.
It's just it does suck where you have Cantillo and Ciccone, Cantillo's been pretty nice all year so far. Ciccone needed a good outing, and he had a good outing. He gave up one run. I mean, you mentioned it. Yeah, there were a lot of pitches in the first and second inning, but things got calmed down. You give up one run. I know he wanted to come back out. It was raining out. Maybe if it was nice and dry and warm outside, maybe they would have sent him back out for the 6th. It was still a good outing. It was a game that, in so many ways, you need to have. But because we keep saying it's April, but what do we say tomorrow if they lose tonight to the Baltimore Orioles? Now they're back at home. I mean, this is a hell of a long stretch of baseball they got. They don't have an off day till next Thursday, yes.
Well, some people are texting me saying it's the worst 4th inning of the year.
Oh, you know what?
Tell Keith to worry about the station and not just the words that are coming out of my mouth all the time, okay? That's all.
They're just concerned with the 4th inning.
Name a worst 4th inning off the top of your head. 216-474-0092, smart ass.
Name a worst inning.
Not you,
the
him.
Game where they gave up 13 runs.
Name a worst game. Name a worst series.
I said off the top of your head.
Yeah, that's it.
His head,
I don't
not
even know
yours.
if the 4th inning was bad that game.
Don't speak for that goofball.
I was going to say name a worst year, but 2020 was pretty rough for everybody.
It was a bad one. They played 60 games.
They did, yeah. Well, they get 60
Shane
games
Bieber
in
won
that
the
year?
Cy Young that year. 60 games.
And then Francisco Lindor said, I don't want to play here.
Did we ever figure out how to contextualize that Cy Young year?
Real quick, Francisco, have you seen any of the lowlights of Francisco Lindor?
Have. He's been a joke.
My God in heaven.
He is going through, honestly, if this were to play out the whole year, every time I bring up the fall from grace for Deshaun Watson, and I know there's off-the-field stuff there clearly too, but the on-the-field stuff, isn't this what it's looking like for Francisco Lindor?
No, it's early. He never really starts off strong.
This has been a joke.
It's early, but falling asleep like 3 games in a row on the base paths.
They are done with him in New York. They are so done with him.
You see, when you don't have Juan Soto to protect you in the lineup, what are you going to do?
Are we not allowed to talk about it because
Jose Ramirez isn't walking through that door. He ain't never leaving Cleveland.
Are we going to get text messages and other shows go after us for saying anything about baseball in April? I'm nervous. I don't want to say anything about Francisco Lindor, and then have people go, it's April. It's like, yeah, he looks terrible in April.
Draft. 216-474-0092. Draft. Lord. I hope everybody on YouTube saw me roll my eyes as hard as I possibly could. So another thing that it's only April. And I want to make this quick, and I know you didn't have much commentary on it, so I set it up like this on purpose. Yesterday, you saw another signing that happened with a rookie, okay? It's in your division, all right? Kevin McGonigal gets 8 years, $150. Now, last week, it was Connor Griffin, 9 years, $140. He's 19. McGonigal's 21. Your rookie's 24. Do we open up this conversation again, or do we just say it's the Guardians, there's no point of having it?
No, I think it's worth having. I do absolutely think it's worth having. And again, it's April, so we are going to talk about it anyway. It is early, and the story here is that baseball teams, especially small market teams, don't have...
Detroit's not a small market, but it's
Detroit's
not seen as a very big market. Yeah, but it's not seen as a big market.
It's twice our size. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Then they have had years where they spent a lot of money at the end of those Illich years, certainly. Mm-hmm. Of course, there were years that the Guardians were the upper ring of
regardless
back
of
in
the history. Do you think we should open up that conversation, or do you just say it's the Guardians and you have control over it until he's 29?
I do think it's a fascinating story. The teams are out trying to get ahead of all this
29.
stuff. But the difference here is that because our guy is 24 and we have team control of him until he's 29.
At least 29.
I don't feel the need to have to do anything with Chase DeLauder. I don't. And I know that we're going to play the outcome here. So if you don't do anything and he ends up with 50 bombs this year, and at the end of the year, you'll be like, oh, Oh, Lima said you don't have to do anything. How do you feel about that now? I also know that if he signs and then gets injured and is out for the year, we're going to go, why did we sign him? What was the rush to sign him? So we're only going to play the outcomes when it comes to this. Because you have team control of him till he's 29, I don't think there's any rush to get this done now.
I understand you said it. You're probably tired of saying it, but if this continues with other organizations, we're going to have to continue to be on the record about this. That's all I say. Like, we had to be on the record about it last week. I think that it'd be a nice kick for the fans. I really do, but I also believe that you are in a little bit of a limbo now. You have another owner that's getting ready to take over here in the next couple of years. You have to involve him on these conversations as well. It's the same thing that happened with Jose Ramirez and his extension. It was the first contract that David Blitzer was involved in. He would have to be involved in this one at whatever amount of money you were going to pay for a longer period of time for Chase DeLauder. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. Do we know anything the Browns will not do next week? I want to ask Mary Kay about that. And when you hear this from Darius Garland, you'll know that Kobe Altman did exactly what he had to do this year. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, about last night in 5 minutes on The Fan.
much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
The NBA play-in tournament continued last night. The Sixers beat the Magic, and the Warriors defeated the Clippers 126-121. Darius Garland, he had a lot to say after the Clippers were eliminated, and, I think the Cavs may have dodged a bullet there.
My first trade went really well for the half of the season, man. Like I said, this organization is really great, and I just want to come out here and just really prove a point that I'm still one of those guys in this league, and I'm out there on 9 toes, not even healthy for real.
Is there any way that the Clippers could come back from this and people could say, yeah, maybe the Clippers did win the James Harden trade?
Yeah,
they could.
Yeah, if they go out and they win a title before the Cavs.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I mean,
Darius Garland plays in it.
I think if Darius, plays the next 5 years there and earns himself another massive contract and is an all-star in the Western Conference, and James Harden will be petering out by then over the next few years.
Yes.
So I think obviously there'll have to be some team success to be a part of that. But we all know what this was. This was the Cavs voluntarily kind of closing their window because they knew they were up against it, knew they had to appease Donovan Mitchell and try to figure out a way to win and win now, and it wasn't happening with Darius.
I hear Donovan Mitchell there. I kind of feel bad. A guy so young shouldn't be having to prove he's still that guy, but because of the injuries, it's not about winning and losing a trade, because I like Darius, and I defended Darius for a couple years before things just got crazy, and it's like, well, again, you can't trade a guy for a dynamic wing when the league does not want that guy who's undersized as a point guard and is going to get shoved off his spot and is also going to be often injured.
He struggled defensively. He was hitting shots. He made an awesome he started out with a bang, and then in the fourth quarter, he made a clutch three that made it 7.
The one with about 6.5 to go, I thought that was it.
I thought so too.
He closed it out.
But defensively, he was atrocious, and he kind of gets played off the floor because he just can't defend on that side. And I know people say, well, James Harden's not a good defender either. Yeah, but James can at least stick with the bigger bodies and kind of hang in there.
It's been a year and a half. This is something that's going to continue his entire career. The people that were whispering things to Lima were right. And unfortunately, I wish it was a different way. Kobe Altman just had to do what he had to do in this case. And they were able to find a really great player who still has some gas left in the tank for Darius Garland.
You guys talked about it a little bit last segment, but the Tigers' Kevin McGonigal signed an 8-year, $150 million extension. And this is what Tarek Skubal said to him during his press conference.
Day games, Saturday and Sunday. I was just wondering if you planned on taking the boys out to dinner. Has that crossed your mind yet, or?
It definitely has, and I'm sure I can take care of it.
Vacation or Abe?
Abe's going to hook it up, yeah.
It starts to make me wonder, with all these different extensions, with the young guys, with Connor Griffin and Colt Emerson, and now, Kevin McGonigal, do you think Chase DeLauder and Travis Bazana might start to feel undervalued?
Well, I don't know if Travis Bazana is going to feel undervalued. He's still in the minors. But Chase DeLauder, I don't know. If he continues to play well, he's going to get taken care of. Now, the better he plays, the more money he deserves. So if he ends up this season with 35 home runs and he's the AL Rookie of the Year, well, yeah, you know what? That's going to cost you more money. But you got to understand the organization you play for, and they're in a different place right now than the other two organizations that threw money at their players.
And spending money
Detroit's a better organization than what Pittsburgh is, because last week when we were talking about it, I'm like, I don't know if I want to take my cues from Pittsburgh on how to run an organization. Sorry, but Detroit's a better organization than they are. The Guardians are a better organization than both, but if you're going to follow anyone's lead, it might be closer to Kevin McGonigal's and Detroit's than it would be out there in Pittsburgh.
I just wish we had a normal baseball setup. A normal sports setup.
This is the
that we
sport
don't have to
you've chosen.
talk about signing guys who played 14 games because we'll never have a chance to sign them later. It just seems insane.
I read an article, by the way,
NBA
yesterday.
doesn't have that problem.
The Athletic, because it was tax day yesterday, and I know it was a big deal to one show on the station here. I read an article about all the hoops that they have to jump through. Because, like football, you remember Jeff Saturday where he like sued the city over taxes because he wasn't in town for a game that he got charged taxes on. You realize that, okay, that's 8 games a year, maybe 9 games a year, depending on how the schedule falls. They're on the road all the time in baseball, and it was a really interesting long article about all the tax implications. And that question reminded me, I'm like, I wouldn't want to take anybody out to dinner if I had to deal with all this tax crap. Because I don't know what's real money. I mean, we read $150 million. I'm like, do I get $5 out of that after the taxes are done? After everything I read yesterday? Stephen Kwan was quoted in it. He goes, you're insane to try to take the taxes on yourself. Insane. All right, John.
The NFL has informed all of their teams that the league has been onboarding replacement referees as the CBA with the current referees expires on May 31st. How bad is this going to be? Because I don't really remember the last time we had replacement refs.
Oh, it was great.
How bad is this going to be?
It was great. I remember Lima talked about Gene Steratore coming back and being pompous and arrogant as he took the field because everybody was cheering for Gene Steratore. And I had to go, Gene Steratore is actually from, I believe, Western Pennsylvania, and he has family who listens to the show. Why don't you shut up?
That is true. I think it almost serves, this will be crazy to say, it almost serves to help the NFL officiating. And let me explain why. Because it's going to be so bad if this happens, then you do realize, oh, yeah, they do have the best in the world at what they do.
That's a good point.
Like, you'll see it, too. And this would happen in baseball. This would happen in the NBA. When you have replacement refs, you realize that as much as you bang on the current officials in every sport, they're still the best. They still are the best. They have an impossible
Explain Angel
job.
Hernandez.
He might
Boom.
He might have some weird protection over the years by the union.
Explain CB Buckner. Boom.
But that's the thing. Like Ken's mentioned a few guys. There's so many other guys, and then when they go down a rung to like replacement guys, you realize just how hard this is as a job. And I know no fans want to ever admit that. They think their team is getting
difficult.
They think their team's getting screwed by the refs in every sport at every level. I mean, just go out to youth baseball, youth football, youth basketball, and fights are breaking out on the field because of how bad the officiating is and really how bad the parenting is. So you realize the guys at the top are still the best to be doing it.
That's it for About Last Night.
Outstanding, John. Outstanding. What's the Point Niners again?
It's my club team from when I was like 14 to 17.
But you still have the hat.
Yeah,
your head hasn't grown since you were 14 years old?
Not really, no.
So you had a big head back then.
You must have had a gargantuan
I've always
melon.
had a really small head. I've always like when you had the snapback caps, mine was always on the last rung.
Interesting. Yeah. We learn more about you every day, John. Well done. Coming up at 8:20 this morning, Mary Kay Cabot. She'll learn more about John, and we'll learn more about her and what she thinks the Browns are going to do at number 6 overall. Do we know that there's anything the Browns won't try to do next week? And if they want to keep Burke Lakefront Airport, I figured out one way they're going to be able to do it. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. It's Fat and Thin in the morning on The Fan.
back-to-back games for the first time this season. They finished the road trip at just 2-4. Browns GM Andrew Berry talks this morning, 11 o'clock. Be sure to catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Baseball, basketball, and the Browns. It's why you need the afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2.
You showed me a video during the break, Jamal Mosley doing smelling salts. I've never tried smelling salts.
So someone's got to help me out because
I want to do some smelling salts.
I've got some in the car if you want.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Bring it on over here.
There are a lot of things you can do in life to get a jolt, right? Some people like to do a little coffee, espresso,
skiing,
maybe a latte.
In a bathroom at a downtown bar here in Cleveland.
There are prescriptions you can take of certain things that'll give you that jolt over the next 8 hours or so. And your jaw is going to be eating itself from the inside out. Okay. And then, this stuff you might get at a party in Hollywood or in Tremont. What is the deal with the smelling salts, which I didn't realize was banned in the NFL?
Yes, last year they banned
it. It can mask a concussion.
Yeah.
Correct?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like ammonia, really.
What I don't understand is, what is Jamal Mosley doing in his life that
gotta focus
during a play-in game he needs to lock in to that extent that he needs the smelling salt?
I think being locked in is kind of an important thing, right?
Wait a second.
So
doesn't your body release some certain chemicals anyway that when there's pretty big moments in your life? And
why do you get lasers shot in your head? Because sometimes your body stops releasing hair follicles into your head. Right?
So he's not getting his body doesn't have the feeling anymore.
He can't fight this feeling anymore.
This
he
is
needs
a big moment.
Maybe he was busy doing other stuff earlier, and he hadn't had time to ramp that up. So he's ramping that up. Baker used to do them all the time, walking out to the field. That was a big deal.
Right. You're right.
Forget all that. What's it like? You've done smelling salts, I'm sure. What's it like?
It just it opens up the world. You get kind of tunnely on trying to describe.
Do you really have it in the car?
I should have some in the car, yeah.
It's legal, right? If we brought those in here, there's...
Buy it on Amazon.
Can I do it on the air?
Can we
or am I going to get in trouble?
Do it on the air.
Yeah.
Heck, Keith is on his way in. Keith, go find some smelling salts for us. I want to try it on the air.
I've never done it.
If I'm not allowed to do it, I won't do it.
Every morning, dude, so many weightlifters, like power lifters do it before they go.
Keith's going
to accidentally bring in his Diana ball for me, and I'm going to go, no,
not that.
no.
The other jar.
It's right out of Barry's locker.
All right, can you develop a dependency to it?
I don't know about that.
Oh, too much of a good thing. There's always such a thing like that, isn't there?
Is this something? I ask the listeners. Maybe the coming in hotline. I want to know if this is something we should do.
I'm about to embark on my final year coaching youth football. Owen, is this something you would condone before a youth football game?
For you or your
me,
athletes?
Not for my children. For me, that's a great point. Thank you for making me clarify.
I mean, maybe your running back had a lot of homework last night.
Not him.
We need an extra 3 yards here.
I mean, whatever a kid's father wants to do to help them win, that's probably still too far. However,
I've seen kids show up in the track spikes to make weight because those weigh a little less than actual.
For me, would smelling salts help me?
Yeah.
Pretty amped up as it is.
Yeah.
Radu says, no, Lima, you want bath salts.
No, you don't want that. I still remember those stories. Speaking of news stories, Burke Lakefront Airport has been a point of contention lately. There's a lot to go here because I saw yesterday that they renamed Tallahassee Airport after Bobby Bowden down in Florida.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you really want to keep Burke Lakefront Airport, rename it Jose Ramirez Airport. It ain't going to go anywhere. But Lima actually had an opinion that the golf course that was brought up might be a good idea instead of Burke Lakefront Airport. Lima's just laughing now. I don't know why.
Because,
you said it.
Okay.
It's your opinion.
When you really do, because the thought is, hey, we need to have something that, the community can use, that we can be proud of, that is real development on a place that's just been this terrible idea that's just been sitting there. This airport that, has 10 flights a day? That's all it is. Yeah, it has a flight school too. Like, what is the point of that? And then you hear a radio host say, yeah, an elite golf course should go there instead. It does sound kind of silly. I understand that.
Fair.
It does.
By the way, caller 8-216-474-0092. Right now, you're going to win a pair of tickets. I sprung it on you to see the Cavs take on the Raptors this Saturday, April 18th. That's at 1 p.m. RocketArena.com. Go ahead and get tickets at Cavs.com. It's all courtesy of the Cleveland Cavaliers at 92.3 The Fan. Caller 8-216-474-0092. Open those phones now. Caller 8. You're going to get those tickets. Congratulations on all your success. You're going to see the Cavs and Raptors. So they did discuss it. You said you brought up a Cleveland.
There was a whole city council meeting about it yesterday.
There was?
Yeah.
Do we have some audio from that?
Fox 8, we got it right here.
Away we go.
We have to start changing the infrastructure to bring more people into our city.
At the center, Burke Lakefront Airport, a 400-plus acre property sitting on prime lakefront land, now under intense scrutiny. Mayor Justin Bibb's administration is pushing for a bold vision, transforming the site into a vibrant lakefront destination. Early concepts include a 100-acre public park, youth sports complexes, housing retail, a vertiport for future air travel, even discussion of a public golf course, potentially generating millions in economic impact.
Though the golf course looks nice and, I don't know what it's going to really look like at the end of the day. The ideals and the concepts look good, but what does it actually benefit and how does it actually benefit the citizens of the city of Cleveland?
The estimated construction cost is somewhere around $600 million. However, nearly all of that would be privately financed.
Opponents warn closing Burke could eliminate a key regional airport, impacting flight training, business travel, and regional aviation access.
It all sounds good, right? But so does me being 6'5" and, playing in the NBA. That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
In Cleveland, Jennifer Jordan, Fox 8 News.
Would someone tell the city council to listen to us for the analogies, please? Lord.
You've had good ones this week.
Thank you very much. I told you that. Thank you. And sometimes they're terrible, but most of the time they're on.
That sounds really good.
Is that Casey?
That's Casey.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Going off the rails.
On the Casey train.
Set it up. Knock it down.
That sounds really good.
You want to put a golf course there where the Burke is? I saw a big-ass plane flying into the Burke as I was leaving Fox 8 yesterday. I was like, whoa, I don't know if that's Burke-friendly, but maybe there was a storm and they had to divert it. I'm not sure. You said you wanted a golf course at the Burke.
Well, what I said was because they're talking about like a public course, and I'm saying that
I want a dog track terrible course, one that I'm going to go out there,
pasture right there
in an undershirt and basketball shorts, and just let me play my type of golf.
What the equivalent?
$18 with a cart.
What the equivalent to airport greens out there? We'll just redo it all over again. So here's the thing: every idea I hear about what to put there, I kind of easily can knock down because, we're gonna put shopping there and a Ferris wheel. None of that is working in Cleveland, Ohio. There's no shopping that people are gonna want to drive downtown Cleveland, Ohio, and park their cars and have to pay. And it's just not happening. It's the year 2026. Brick and mortars aren't working there. That's not happening.
Okay. So what do you want to do? It's a lot of land over there.
Yeah, all these ideas. Okay, a public park. I mean, is there really a shortage of public parks? I feel like Northeast
could always use more. Could always use more green space.
Edgewater in 5 minutes from that.
Exactly.
Spot.
You don't need it.
But isn't the tree getting ready to go? The willow? I have no idea. I'm dead serious. You got the solstice steps. You can't have two sets of solstice steps.
That's another 15 minutes down the road.
That is. So.
Well, I don't want to drive 15 minutes down the road. I want the solstice steps right near me, right off East 55th, brother.
When I hear all these ideas, I mean, none of them are award winners. Like, what have you heard that makes sense to go there?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe an airport. I don't know.
People keep saying, I
can't think anything better. I've been racking my brain for weeks trying to think of something that's better. And you bring up a golf course. I'm like, a golf course at first doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm going, well, what the hell else are you going to put there? You're going to put up you just poo-pooed the idea of condos and townhouses and shopping and retail and all that stuff.
More luxury apartments.
You got to build. Well, you got to build. If you're going to do that, you got to build more infrastructure around it.
We're going to keep we're going to keep selling $5,000 apartments in a city that, has the struggles that it has.
With that attitude, we're not going to be able to do anything here. Let's get it going.
The only reason I brought up the golf course all along is because I know that a place like Whistling Straits has people traveling from all over the world
This ain't Whistling
to go
Straits,
up to
brother.
Wisconsin, okay? And people say, well, the weather in Cleveland. What's the weather in Wisconsin?
Can't be much better than ours.
So, and that's pretty successful, the Kohler Company.
It'd be
Look it
really
up.
nice to have to host a major in June, right? When the weather is not, it can be 110 degrees in other parts of the country, and it's 90, 92 degrees.
It's a good point. He makes a good point. Of course, then again, I don't think the fine folks down at the other country club in Akron are going to be very thrilled about that. I'm just trying to think of everything here, man. I've heard it for a long time about getting rid of that airport, using that land for better use. But now we're talking about better use here because you're gonna be getting rid of the stadium soon. That's going to be empty, and so you're going to have to bulldoze that. What are you going to do with that land? Now you have oodles of possibilities there. Can you turn the whole thing into another neighborhood? Maybe. There's a lot of things that just sound better in a golf course, don't they? I'm all ears. When you say golf course, unless you are Lee Trevino, aren't you sitting there going, hey, you can't think of something better?
Well, it's elitist, right? Just the thought of a golf course is just as elitist as having private jets at Burke. I understand.
That's true. That's a good point. I mean, you're talking about Whistling Straits. I don't think that any Bob Jackson on east or west side can go on and just get a tee time at Whistling Straits or Lima Straits along the lakeshore there. I don't think anybody's going to do it.
There. You can get a job there washing dishes and cleaning clubs.
I think it's very simple to what to name it. You just call it a nice golf course.
Oh, well, is that going to be next to the Costume Emporium?
Of course.
I don't think they're going to like
where the stadium was.
Well, you got nice steakhouse and the nice golf course, but the Lima and Carman drive-through Costume Emporium, that can't be in the same neighborhood.
Is there?
We keep costs down because we're in low rent.
But you drive right through the concourse of what is now Huntington Bank Field.
You'd quite literally have the runway to have plenty of cars right before Halloween, too. I mean, it would be perfect. Now, the thing about the Costume Emporium is we have to remind people every single time.
You don't get to choose. We choose for you.
I keep getting the questions, but my kid's not going to want to wear that. That's not the idea.
Not my problem.
Because we have to optimize the time. We've got to get the cars through. If you're sitting there acting like it's a low-rent spirit store where I'd like to browse. I'd like to do more browsing. Kid, get your Freddy Krueger and move on. Nope. That's what we're doing here.
You guys want to take care of Halloween quick, or you guys want to take care of Halloween and make it painful? Because if you keep it up, you'll just all be David S. Pumpkin.
Now, can we make an exception and let one city councilman pick 6'5" basketball player?
That sounds really good.
Might not be able to fit in the clothes.
I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
We should go as Brian Casey for the Halloween show, and he should go as us. We should have him on.
A little switcheroo.
Might be fun. I'm going as a politician for the Halloween show this year. I told you. I already told you who I'm going as.
Oh, that's right.
It's not who everybody thinks. Don't even start. Don't you even start. Coming in hot's tomorrow, not now.
I don't know if Chantel Brown's going to appreciate that.
I'm not going as her. I'm not going as you got me hemming and hawing. I'm not going as Mary Rose Okar. All right. I'm not going as Sherry Bevan Walsh. I'm not going as Judge Sinnenberg, okay? I'm not going as Dennis Kucinich, okay? That would be way off the scale. I'm not going as any of them, okay? You done?
Polensik?
I'm not going as Michael Polensik.
You remind me of
you
the
should go as
in a lot of ways.
You should go as Polensik.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Why do I remind you of Michael Polensik?
You guys see eye to eye on a lot of stuff.
That sounds really good.
Mary Kay Cabot. She's going to join us in 5 minutes. By the way, we have former NFL players testing us about the smelling salts to do on the air. I hope Keith will let us do it. I don't know if he's going to allow us to do it. All right, coming up next, Mary Kay Cabot. We'll ask her if she's ever done smelling salts. And if the Browns are willing to do anything, including trade up from number 6. Yeah, that was brought up earlier this week. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on the Fan.
6, take 2 of 3 in the series. Guardians losing back-to-back games for the first time this season. Browns GM Andrew Berry talks this morning, 11 o'clock. Catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Mary Kay in just a moment. John, get on the mic. He's on the phone, like being a telemarketer. John, get on the microphone.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
What did the person say?
She said that you and Lime were being idiots and that we need more public parks and that Edgewater's pretty crowded.
I said we could take another public park. I said use the free Odyssey app with the rewind function and use it by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. See, that was seamless. No, I said we could use another public park. That's what I said.
What, the 18 reservations in Cuyahoga County not enough for you?
How about 19?
Oh, in honor of Bernie Kosar. That's right.
How about Penitentiary Glen? We'll name this one number 2. We'll name it after your dad. All right, let's go to the Make It Right call.
Sounds really good.
Call right hotline. How old's Mason?
2.
I got to get him in before he understands that. Let's go and Make It Right call right hotline. Hello, Mary Kay.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Mary Kay, who lives a stone's throw away from one of the great Metro Parks, great resource we have in Northeast
Mary Kay,
Ohio.
if you were going to get rid of Burke Lakefront Airport, what are you going to put there?
Oh, wow. I would probably put a mixed-use development there with plenty of accommodations with lake views. I would probably put some shopping and dining there.
Green space?
I would also put some green space there, and it would be an absolute entertainment mecca. It would be a place to be. It would be hopping. It would draw young people to Cleveland.
Mel Torme would be there on first night. All right, Mary Kay.
Are you running for office, Mary Kay? That sounded like a very polished answer.
That sounds really good.
Sure.
Mary Kay, you said something earlier this week, and I nearly drove off the road. Could they actually trade up from number 6?
Well, it was on the table as of the owners' meetings. He did not rule that out. And remember, last year, he did pretty much rule that out as we went through the draft process. So I am kind of curious to hear today if he says it's unlikely like he did last year. He hasn't said that yet. He's left it on the table. And as I think about it, I keep trying to think, who would be worth trading up for if he were to do that? And the only thing I can really come up with would be one of the edge rushers, if they really deem someone to be sort of the heir apparent to Myles Garrett, or, drum roll please, or Jeremiah Love. I mean, what if they love enough to make some kind of a move up for him? I have no idea yet if they feel that way about him or feel that strongly about him. But he just is one of those generational players in this draft, and there are not many of them.
Well, Mary Kay, that brings us to the age-old question always when it comes to the NFL draft about best player available. Now, it is interesting that in this draft, it does seem like a lot of the pundits don't see a huge gap between a lot of these players. But when they start comparing Jeremiah Love to, say, Marshall Faulk, I mean, that gets people's attention.
Well, I've talked to people about Jeremiah Love, and I had someone say this week to me that he could be the best prospect he's ever scouted pre-draft. So that's the kind of way people are talking about him. Now, people did talk about Travis Hunter that way last year as well. So, you know, I mean, you really have to do your due diligence and all of that. But the way people are describing him, maybe he would be worth that. I don't know. They love Quinshon Judkins. They love Dylan Sampson. I know they feel like they're pretty well set there right now. But once again, Andrew doesn't draft for need. So if he's there, and I don't even think he's going to be there at number 6. So I actually do think that he's somebody that you probably would have to move up a few spaces for if you really wanted him.
Who was that again you're mentioning?
We're talking about Jeremiah Love.
Oh, Jeremiah Love. Okay. Because for a second I was... so what do you think is the most, as of a week to go, what do you think is the most likely of their moves to do? Stay, move up, or trade down?
I would say trade down. I think when you have all of these people discussing and projecting and predicting this trade with the Cowboys, I think that's more than just hearsay and rumor. There's got to be something probably coming out of Dallas that suggests that they're talking about this. I think that they probably don't play it as close to the vest there as the Browns do at this time of year. I mean, the Browns, they really lock it down. I mean, they really, really lock it down. They knew for months that they wanted to draft Dylan Gabriel last year. They knew for months, or at least a month before, that they were making that trade down with the Jaguars, and they just didn't let on at all. So I think it's probably, if this is true, it's probably coming out of Dallas, and everybody seems to think that they would want Sonny Styles there, the Cowboys. So there just could be something to it. And I wouldn't be shocked if that happens on Thursday night.
So if the Browns were to move down to, I think, 12 is where the Cowboys draft, what changes about who they could possibly take? Because I imagine then Carnell Tate's off the board. All the usual suspects that we've been talking about here for the past few months would be off the board. Do you think that they would then turn it into an offensive line draft?
Well, it could. I mean, I think that really does put Caden Proctor in play there at number 12. Maybe it really puts a Monroe Freeling more so in play there at number 12 and some of the others. So a few of those guys will be gone by then, but they could probably really get their hands on a great tackle at that spot. And also, I would think, a really, really good receiver.
Could they get a first-rounder in 2027 back from Dallas?
I think that would be hard, but some people have proposed that they would end up getting this year's 12 and 20 from Dallas, and I just think that would be a tough thing to get out of the Cowboys. And I also think 3 first-round picks this year, that's not what they really need. I think that they would need to add premium draft capital for next year to be poised to take a quarterback in the event that they need one. So I just don't know if it's that useful for you to end up with 12, 20, and 24 this year, because I do think that there's probably a significant drop-off when you get to the second half of this draft in the first round.
Sound like Eric DeCosta. That's what he just said with the Baltimore Ravens. Mary Kay Cabot joining us right now. So I'm curious about this, and it might be hard for you to answer because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm always curious about how this works in different organizations. How much of a seat at the table is Todd Monkin going to have in this draft? And is it going to be the exact same seat that, say, Kevin Stefanski had?
Well, I'm sure Kevin Stefanski's seat probably evolved over the years as the communication between him and Andrew Berry deepened, and Andrew knew more about what the staff wanted and those kinds of things. So I do think that Todd will have a seat at the table. He already has a seat at the table, but it's not to some great extent where he's going to be able to dictate who their first pick is or who they're taking in the first round of the draft. He's going to have a say in the matter, and the personnel staff will try to shade whoever they draft to the schemes that Todd and Mike Rutenberg and Storr are running. But he's not going to be standing on the table for somebody and they're going to go with exactly what Todd wants. That's not how this will work.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us on the show. All right, are there any players that they could possibly trade away between today and next Thursday that the Browns already have on their roster?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. And I know the Myles Garrett rumors persist. They persist, but right now in this moment, I still buy into what Andrew Berry told us at the NFL owners meetings, and that was that Myles Garrett is a career Brown. So at this moment, I'm not feeling that. But once again, sometimes things don't really heat up until you get on the clock or you get close to being on the clock on draft night. And what if somebody makes them an offer they absolutely can't refuse? So you can never say never. But I'm still abiding by what he told us at the owners' meetings, and that he has no plans to do that, and they're pretty adamant about that. If that changes, then something drastically has changed in the trade landscape from the owners' meetings to draft night. And then, I asked about Denzel at the owners' meetings as well, and it was basically the same answer, and that was, we have our core players. We want to keep these guys intact. We are trying to build the offense to match the caliber of the defense, and we don't want to go trading away some of our best players.
I got to go on a fishing expedition here. Can you get a first rounder next year for pick 24 from somebody?
No. Well,
I'm just trying to think about how to get another first rounder in 2027 without trading away Myles Garrett.
No, I doubt it too. You usually take a discount when you trade into future years, but everybody wants a piece of that 2027 draft because of the quarterback class that it's expected to be. Now, not everybody's going to need a quarterback. There are plenty of teams that won't be in that position, but there are a lot of teams that want to keep their options open for 2027. I think it would be very difficult to get a first-round pick for 24.
Can I ask well, you know what? No, I want to ask that question to Lima after we talk to Mary Kay Cabot. Go ahead, Mary. Go ahead, Tone. Ask Mary Kay a question.
Carnell Tate, we've wondered if it's just as easy as, hey, if he's there at number 6, the Browns are just going to take him. They need a wide receiver. And in this draft, you could do far worse than just taking a guy like Tate, who is obviously someone that our fan base is extremely familiar with because of the Ohio State ties. Do you have any right now thought on, is it just as easy as if Tate's there, they're going to take him?
Well, I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that pick at all because in my mind, what this team needs more than anything is to get in the end zone and to score touchdowns and to have weapons. And I think they need 2 really good offensive weapons, maybe more, but they need at least 2 really good dynamic weapons out of the rest of the acquisition season. That could come via the draft. It could come via trade, free agency, whatever the case may be. But they need to upgrade their weapons game in a huge way. And so I would not hate the Carnell Tate pick at all at number 6. And maybe it is just that simple. I actually would take the receiver there before I would take the offensive tackle. But I don't know how their board will shape up, and it also depends on where they're picking. But if I'm staying at 6, I would not hate that pick at all because I still think that you can come back and get a really good tackle. Maybe you move up from number 24 if you possibly could do that to still grab one of the best offensive tackles. But they like a number of them, so they might be safe in doing it that way.
Mary Kay Cabot with us on the show. What's Joel Bitonio going to do?
I forgot about him,
Ken. I know. Well, thank you, because I had a brain fart there for a second, and then I had to remember who the hell I was talking about. Go ahead, Mary Kay.
Well, I think that the longer it goes, it seems to me that he's probably just, waiting to make an announcement that he's ready to kind of hang it up. But we can't say that for sure. He's in some kind of a process, and we don't know what it is. And the Browns are giving him all the time that he needs, and maybe they know something that we don't. So maybe he's waiting to see what they do in the draft. Maybe he's waiting to see who the starting quarterback is going to be. I really don't know what his process is. But in my mind, the longer it goes, the less likely it is in my mind that he's going to be a Cleveland Brown this year.
Mary Kay, we thank you so much for the time. All the best. We'll talk to you next Thursday, night 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline. If I ask a simple question, are you going to come after me for it?
I won't know.
All right, because I'm trying to figure out a way to get a first-round pick in 2027. I want 2 first-round picks in 2027. I don't want to trade away you-know-who. I don't want to do that. The season will be dead in the water. I think Todd will be dead in the water. I think that Andrew Berry will be dead in the water. I'm trying to figure out a way to get a 2027 first-round pick without trading away you-know-who. So I want to ask you this question when we come back. It's a question. It is a question. It is not a theory yet. I don't want to say it because I don't know if it's going to be possible. The scenario I'm going to play out for you here when we come back, okay? Can I just ask, without you guys throttling me, without Lima coming over and beating me about the face and hands? Are we okay?
Yes,
okay.
Be fine.
All right. I got a wild-ass theory. I got a wild-ass question about how to get a 2027 first-rounder coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for American Play.
affects the Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
With the first pick, the build-up to the NFL Draft is here. And we're on top of the latest news and rumors ahead of Round 1 on April 23rd. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I'm going to throw out a question. That's all I'm going to do. This is not a theory. Don't you do this. Don't you make me look like hell. I'm throwing it out there. Does everybody? I'm just going to go around the room here real quick. And also, 216-474-0092. It's not going to be coming in hot, but I'm throwing it out to you guys. We all want another 2027 first-round pick next year, right? Just in case. Yeah. Nobody except for the most ardent fans of Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, nobody living in reality truly 100% believes that one of these guys is going to be the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for the future, right? You can hope all you want. I hope Shedeur Sanders becomes the future franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I just don't believe it's going to happen.
Ken hopes to be.
Wrong clip. That's coming up at 9:45. You'll get to hear more of that. That'll be okay. Oh, you dumped it.
Oh, yeah, of course. Now I'll do this.
That sounds really good.
Unless you heard that last.
It's a well-oiled machine, man. It happens. What are you going to do?
You're going to dump it out and you're going to play this clip?
That sounds really good.
Let me ask you guys this question. So we all want another 2027 first rounder. Yes. All right. You all want another 2027 first rounder. Let me get to Joshua in Cleveland. Josh, I'm going to put you back on hold, okay? You got me? You hear me?
I guess so.
Don't go firing off with your opinion yet. I'm going to put you back on hold. Do you or do you not want another 2027 first-round pick?
100%.
All right, let me put you back on hold there, Josh. Thank you very much. Try to get back to you coming up here in a bit. However, you guys want another 2027 first-round pick? I got another question to ask. Do you guys think that this is a good draft in the top 10? Yes or no? Do you think that this is a star-studded draft in the top 10?
No, it's not.
No. All right, Josh in Cleveland. Josh, do you think that this is a star-studded draft in the 2026 first round?
It is not.
Okay, Josh, I'm putting you back on hold.
Stop trying to talk about other
stuff.
stuff.
Stop trying to talk. Yeah, exactly. You'll get your stuff in, trust me.
How do you feel about the experience of being on hold? Josh, let's get to him real quick.
Let me ask you guys this question. I'm going to ask Josh.
Josh, how do you feel about being on hold?
Josh, how do you feel about being on hold?
Yeah, it's great.
All right, hold on.
Put Josh back on hold.
All right, back on hold.
Okay.
He whiz.
If you guys don't think the top 10's really good, oh, God. I'm just asking questions. That's right. All we got to do is ask questions, guys. Would you be willing to trade number 6 overall for a team's first-round pick in 2027? Don't everybody talk at once.
And not get anything else back?
Well, no, you're going to get other things back for giving up a number 6 overall pick. You're not just going to get it starts with a 2027 first rounder, okay?
And not get another first rounder back?
Hey, I'm talking about the Cowboys here. Jerry Jones is a crazy person. You watched the documentary. Let's just call it what it is. Would you take the Cowboys first round pick in 2027?
Or what if it's even 20 in next year's?
I'm willing to go, you know what? 20 in next year's. So you're picking at 20 and 24. Well done. Thank you for helping me out on that. You willing to do that? That's all you get. You're getting their first round pick next year, and you get 2026 first round at number 20.
Start over. Lay it out for me.
Jerry Jones calls you up. He says, I want some glory hole. And then we play that into oblivion like we did years ago. And he says, Lima. And you go, you're calling the wrong number, Jerry. You're supposed to call Andrew Bear. And he goes, I'll give you number 20 overall and our first round pick next year in 2027 because this is a sex machine that's going to be going to the top. And you say, okay. And he says, you give us number 6. Would you be willing to do that? I'm spitballing here. I'm trying to find ways without training you-know-who to get a first round pick in 2027. We need all the ammo we can get in 2027. All right? Are you willing to do that? I'm asking questions. You willing to do it? Lima?
So I'm getting 20, and I get their first-round pick, whatever it is next year. Oh, my God.
I did not. You made this easy. I don't understand how this is hard. Yes. That's what you get.
You only threw me off because I knew they have the 12th pick,
You go from 6 to 20.
Yeah, so you go all the way down to 20, and I get their first-round pick next year?
First round next year.
I would do that, yeah.
Okay. What if they say, no, you can only have our first-round pick next year. We want up to 6. And you do not get 12. You do not get 20.
You cannot do that.
Okay. I'm making sure so we understand parameters here. This is totally dreamland, guys. Owen, what do you say? You get 20, you get the first rounder next year. They plan on drafting at number 32. Now, they would probably draft somewhere in like 26 or 27, but that's where it is. Are you willing to do that, Owen?
I don't think I am.
All right. Joshua in Cleveland. Hello. Are you willing to do that?
I would suck Jerry Jones' big toe to trade back anytime. There's nobody there that you would. It's not Julio Jones from 10 years ago. Yes, trade back, get the trenches done. Like, you guys are so stuck on stupid in Cleveland, it's ridiculous.
Wait, what? We're so what? We're stuck on what?
You're stuck. You should have got whatever you could for Miles, just like Steelers should for DJ Watt. You're not winning anything. There's no Julio Jones that you missed out on when you traded back 10 years ago when you could have had a number one receiver generational guy.
Well, yeah, that was back in the day. We didn't even know each other then, Josh. I mean, hell, that was a long time ago.
There's no guy in that top 10 that's going to change your franchise. Trade back, build the trenches. It's not that hard. Like, you guys, everyone, why do you guys get paid millions of dollars when it's not? I have a 16-year-old playing fantasy football that runs better than the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I thought you were saying we were getting paid millions of dollars. I said, hell.
No, I wish you would. You sound smarter than them.
Yeah! Football guys, brother.
You trade back, you build the trenches. This is like steel. You trade back, get whatever you can. There's no one top 10 that's going to change anything. And you should have got something for Miles, just like this. I'm a Steeler guy, sorry. You should have got something for TJ Watt.
See, I don't want
So the Jerry Jones toe thing, he was able to figure that out. But at the end of the call, he couldn't wiggle out of that. It was always doomed. The call was always doomed.
At least he used it properly. So you would do that. So how far are you willing to I'm just asking because I like Carnell Tate, and there's going to be people go, guys, we need talent on this football team now. We need it right now. I mean, right bleeping now. That's all. That's the only reason I did. Because at first I was thinking, man, would you be willing to give it up real quick? Would you be willing to give up number 6 overall? You ain't getting no 20 back. You ain't getting 12 back. You have your own number 24 pick. And that's it. You get their first round pick in 2027.
Yeah,
and then other picks as well, second rounders,
right?
things
20
like
is hard for me. 12, if no receivers have been taken yet, 12 I might do because then you got to think, you got a chance to get one of those receivers.
I want a first rounder in 2027 like I want air. I want it like I want a life. I just want it so bad.
It's just every team is saying
I want a way out of it. I know I want a way out of this. Yeah, but they didn't create the hell that we've created for ourselves, even though I didn't want that trade. I'm stuck in hell. The only teams that can compare to us are the Jets, maybe the Commanders a little bit. But they got a little bit with Jaden Daniels, so you really know. I want out of this. And I see a way out. And I just don't want to torpedo because Josh brings up, before we had to dump him, Josh brings up you-know-who. I don't want to trade you-know-who because everything's dead in the water. Your front office is dead in the water. Your head coach is dead in the water if you trade you-know-who. And I don't need to say who because everybody knows because we're talking in Cleveland, Ohio. Everybody knows who is. So I don't need to say it. I don't want to trade him. Not yet. Not yet. Can I give my coach, a new coach that everybody seems to like, a fighting chance? Because once they get rid of that guy, that's it. You're done. 2026.
Unless he is a miracle worker offensively.
Yeah.
Unless he truly is the guy that some people are hoping he can be.
It would just be such a hit to the franchise, man. It really would. And I would just be like, man, it's a lame duck year for him. It's a lame duck year for the GM. It goes against everything you're doing. I don't want to do it. All right, calls are going crazy right now. You want to get to these guys on this? Sure. We come back. All right, I want to hear you guys on this. It's a crazy theory. It's a dreamland theory. Also at 9:20 this morning, did last night prove that the Cavs won the trade with Darius Garland? I think it might have. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and I think Darius might have admitted it. That at 9:22 on the Fan.
future Cavs playoff coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I think I've gone insane. Have I? I slept 2 hours last night. Is that why I thought of that question for the Browns?
This is when it would start to manifest itself, the 2 hours of sleep. Let's take it from someone who's been there, done that.
Yeah, but you had help. I was just alone with my thoughts last night. You had help.
9 o'clock hours where you start to teeter, may lose you during an interview, may close those eyelids.
There's no
briefly.
interview. There's no interview this hour. We had Mary Kay at 8:20. You didn't lose me. I had a brain fart about Joel Bitonio. I forgot his name for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we're good. And then I thought of something crazy because I was alone with my thoughts last night, and that was a terrifying thing. And we had a harrowing situation in the front yard yesterday, which I'm actually afraid to say on the air because I'm serious. If anybody tries to scare me with one, I may have a heart attack and die. Like it may be like a Chubbs-Peterson situation. I don't know if I'll fall out a window. Did he die of a heart attack or falling out a window? Probably, hopefully,
he fell
a mix
out
of both.
a window.
Yeah, but did he die of the window or did he have a heart attack before?
No, he was scared by the alligator or crocodile, whatever bit his hand off, and then he fell out of Happy Gilmore's apartment window.
Man, rough way to go.
Lee Trevino was very upset. Second reference today of Lee Trevino.
That's the second.
Speaking of golf, at 9:45, in honor of Les Levine, Lima asked, how come there are no hail-sized golf balls?
I always thought we should sell them at Berkshire Hills.
Serious
That
tease.
was one of my big fundraisers for the golf course.
Dead-ass serious about that. So I'm going to ask a question about Darius Garland coming up at 9:22. I want to ask you guys, like, the whole this draft doesn't suck. It's just there's no sexiness, there's no star power, there's no real big-time appeal. Fernando Mendoza, nice quarterback. Some people have tried to be controversial about Fernando Mendoza, and then that got spiked into the sun after Dan Orlovsky shot his mouth off and then couldn't back any of it up, which made it even look worse. Made it look worse for Ty Simpson, to be honest with you. Carnell Tate's there. I like Carnell Tate. I'd take Carnell Tate at number 6. Am I standing up on some soapbox screaming it at everybody? No, I'm not. I think a lot of us are trying to. You brought this up on the phone. I'm not going to take this away from you. A lot of us are trying to position ourselves for 2027. There will be a time where I will have to accept this team is still, hopefully it's going to be better, but I don't know how much better it's going to be. There will be a time where I have to accept conversations about the Browns hurting themselves with victory later in the year. Because there's going to be a lot of conversation where I think the T word, you think the T word is going to be said more than we've ever said it getting ready for the 2027 draft during the 2026 regular season. We all want to position ourselves for 2027. Do we not? That's all we're talking about doing. Because we got to find a way out of this hell that has been created for us, whether you wanted to trade for you-know-who or not. I didn't, but either way. I keep saying you-know-who. Deshaun Watson.
I think I know what the NBA just went through, and it was a horrible last month of the season.
Yep.
Even I can admit it. I kind of think the NFL is going to have this in the last 3-4 weeks. I think you're going to have a bunch of teams not trying to win, going super young, backup quarterbacks.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of drama in December about winning and losing, I think, in the NFL. I think you are right about this, and I think that's a conversation we're going to have. But we're trying to get ready for 2027. I'm going, all right, you guys said what you said about Andrew Berry. I totally agree with you. I asked the question at the beginning of the show, and I totally agree with you. If you don't trust him right off the rip, and most people don't, I know that he had a really great draft last year, but that was last year, and the other drafts are obviously questionable. But if you don't trust him that much, why would you give him less picks to work with than more picks to work with? So you want to give him more picks, okay, but this isn't a great draft. And Eric DeCosta is saying that, and maybe he's trying to hurt the Browns moving down, maybe he's trying to hurt another team moving down, that he says that the second half of the first round, there's a talent drop-off, falls off. So a lot of us think that we can get better because, especially on offense, you can't get any worse. You can get better on offense. How much better are you going to get on offense? So if you make these moves, I'm pussyfooting around this. I got to say it out as right now. You willing to give up number 6 for something in 2027? Are you willing to move back to number 20? The Cowboys' second first-round pick, are you willing to move back to number 20 for something in 2027, for a first-round pick in 2027? And by and large, people are saying, yeah, they want to get themselves prepared for a spot in the 2027 draft and finally take a real whack at ending this, even though we're only going to begin once we take whoever that is in 2027, because then we have to not make the same mistakes we made with Baker Mayfield, but that's a conversation for next spring. A lot of people are on board with that. Josh in Coshocton, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
A lot of people might be on board on that, but a lot of people are wrong on that because I'll tell you why. Dallas doesn't even have their own first-round pick. So you're saying that Dallas is going to trade 2027 first-round pick to us for 6, or that and 20 for 6 this year. Makes no sense. We're going to drop down 14 spots, which is going to kill us getting a high-impact player this year to put us even more out of contention next year. You're going to trade pick 30? Like, they have Green Bay's first-round pick. Green Bay can legitimately win it all this year.
Well, yeah, but they're not trading with you if they don't think. Yeah, but I said that, Josh. Like, they're not. Green Bay didn't trade it if they didn't think they were going to win it, and Dallas ain't going to trade up with you if they don't think they're going to win it. So either way, you're probably going to get a late first-round pick.
Right, but I mean, what good? I get that the 2027 draft is where all the good quarterback prospects are, but what good is it going to do you if you're picking 10th and 28th?
Hell of a point.
Because you're not going to be able to.
Hell of a point.
You're not going to be able to package those points or those picks up and get one of the top quarterbacks.
Then you got to work with me here, Josh, because then you got to go into 2028, maybe even 2029 in that draft, and nobody wants to do that because you know what that's going to do. That makes 2026 that much more important. You get what I'm saying?
Right, but I do, but we got.
He's breaking up. Josh. I'm sorry for the record. I see Josh's point. I was with you because if you're getting a late round pick in 2027, I mean we're going way into the future. Well, yeah, number 28, 29, 30, and number. I mean, if you're at number 2 and you're willing to move that might be enough for some, but you're going to have to go into 2028 and everything like that. That makes 2026 that much more important because you got to have some picks, you got to have some players. See, that's part of the reason. Everybody wanted to say Myles Garrett. Everybody wanted to say Arch Manning. That's part of the reason why Andrew Berry threw that out there and wanted that conversation to happen because you want some more flexibility instead of just having to go, okay, the next 3 years of first-round picks are yours, which I thought too, and I agreed totally with Nick Wilson on this. Nick said he should actually go the other way, that they should take less first-round picks. I go, let's find a happy medium. How about only 2 first-round picks at a time? You can't go 3 in a row.
I would say that part of the reason that you're even you have the ability in sports to trade with teams for future first-round picks, it is always about looking for some good fortune, too. And in this league, this is such the league where a team like Green Bay might be, you'd think, oh, Green Bay's always going to win a lot of games as long as their quarterback stays healthy, and then he gets injured, and then all of a sudden they fall out big time. They don't have Malik Willis there anymore. So it is the league where, hey, a lot of teams think they're going to be in a Super Bowl hunt, and the next thing you know, they're finishing 3rd or 4th in their division.
We also thought we'd be drafting with two top 10 picks this year with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
But it works both ways, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true. 216-474-0092. Matt and Hudson, congratulations on all your success. You're next up on the Fan.
Hey, we love Anthony and Hudson, by the way. He's amazing.
Congratulations, Tone. Give this man his...
Yeah, he did. He did a couple Explorers games last year.
Oh, that's right, 2 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we love him. We love him.
I'm not even allowed to drive through. It's amazing.
Oh, come on. You come right up 303. We'll go grab a nice burger over there, Kenny. Come on.
It's flooded right now, but other than that, yeah.
Hey, look, here's what I don't understand. The Browns stink, okay? I love the Browns, but they stink. So when you stink, you have to accumulate great players, okay? The draft should be easy. Whoever the best player is on your board, that's who you should draft. If it's a tight end, if it's a kid from Oregon, and you can't say, oh, well, we already have a tight end, we can't take him, or a running back, we have Junkins, we can't take. You have to start drafting good or great players. Trading back is fool's gold. We keep trading back and think we're going to accumulate these players. Take the best player there, okay?
Well, all they are good ideas. That's all they are. It's not. I mean, a player is a player, but these ideas for the future.
You can't say the need is so great everywhere. So why are you afraid to get accumulate great players at one position. I don't think there's a great offensive lineman here. I don't think there's a guy. So I would never trade out of the 6. If you have a pick that high, you have to take the best player available. If it's an edge rusher, you take him. And that's what I think the Browns need to start to do. And we can't keep doing this where we kick the can down the road. You're talking about 27, 20. We got to win now. You're afraid to trade Myles Garrett, but we're talking about drafts in 27 and 28. I don't understand the logic there.
Well, because I want to have my cake and eat it too, Matt. Obviously, I want to keep the player of the generation, and I want to be able to have a quarterback that we all trust.
Here's what I think, and I'll let you guys go. But here's my analogy on I love Myles. Okay, yeah. I got 6 season tickets. I love going down to the game. I love Myles.
Yeah, you can get 6
it's like, look, that's right. We go to and having Myles Garrett on this Browns team is like having a $150,000 house with a Ferrari in the driveway. Okay, let's get rid of the Ferrari and let's get a better house.
Especially if it's not protected when the weather intervenes like it did yesterday on the east side.
More on that coming up at 9:45 this morning. 216-474-0092. Deshaun in Cleveland, you're next up on the Fan.
Oh, my God. Here we go. Telling the Browns fans there's no way we can win this year. Shador stinks. Let's just get ready for next year, folks, because we don't got a quarterback.
Oh, for the love of God.
I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this disrespect.
No,
how about the kid is good? How about the kid is good and we win 10 games? We're still going to get a quarterback.
That would be awesome.
You want me to sit there and lie to you all the morning? You want me to sit there and lie to you all morning?
What do you mean lie? You act like it's impossible.
It's
talking to a Browns fan like it's no way.
Which is more likely? Which is more likely to happen?
Which is more likely?
And don't yell at me. I want you to answer the question. Which is more likely to happen?
You know what? I'm tired of this. He won 3 games out of 7.
Congratulations on all his success.
And he gets no respect. He was playing with bums. He was 2-0 in the final 2 games.
And he'll probably still have a fair amount of bums this coming year. So what are you saying, Deshaun?
Man, what?
Exactly.
Yeah,
because he knows I'm right. Because he's trying to get me mad and red face ain't gonna work. That's why.
Y'all is killing me with
he knows.
Everybody's not going to be bums. I mean, the season hasn't even started yet.
I didn't say everybody. I said he'll still have a fair amount of bums. Hey, man, I want him to do well. I have to be realistic.
I like Fannin.
Deshaun, I got to be realistic. We're
not getting a quarterback next year.
And by the way, we're not going to get a quarterback in the first round next year?
We're not getting a quarterback in the first round next year.
Why?
Browns fans, let's be happy. We're not going to get one. We got our guy. 12.
Okay.
12.
He's number 2.
12.
He's number 2 now.
He's actually number 2 now.
They switched it. 2.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.
Do you got to buy a new jersey?
He ain't buying no new jersey.
Are they doing a buyback program or anything like that?
No, they'll just give you an eraser. You can take the 1 off there.
That seems like a lot of work.
Yelling 12. I didn't even remember. He switched his name. His number.
It's not centered.
I'm just trying to be realistic. That's all. Everybody knows I want him to do well. I don't want to play Deshaun Watson. I would love to see Shador Sanders do well. Got to be realistic. Coming up at 9:45, the exact thing that Lima was talking about when it comes to the hail. Hail yes or hail no. Coming up at 9:45. And in 5 minutes, did last night prove that the Cavaliers made the right trade? And did Darius Garland himself admit it on the Fan? Let me admit something to you. I can only tell you the truth how I see it. And let me give you the truth right now. Let me admit it to you right now. 0% financing is available. On
the Guardians losing back-to-back games for the first time this year, and they finished the road trip at 2-4. Browns GM Andrew Berry talks this morning, 11 o'clock. Catch the press conference live right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Did last night prove that the Cavs won the trade with Darius Garland and James Harden? And did Darius Garland admit it when he said this after the Clippers lost last night to the Golden State Warriors?
My first trade went really well for the half of the season, man. Like I said, this organization is really great. And I just want to come out here and just really prove a point that, like, I'm still one of those guys in this league. And I'm out there on 9 toes, not even healthy for real.
That's Darius Garland admitting his injuries.
And it's a big part, obviously, before I weigh in on that question that you just asked to start the segment. Obviously, Darius, this has been very unfortunate for him. And the toe thing just brutalized his playoff resume for last year. And, after last night, he's not going to get a chance to have a real playoff series this year. So he's sitting on 9 wins in 7 years as a 2-time All-Star. So that's very unfortunate. It's not his fault. It's just not his fault. I thought he tried to gut through it last year.
Per toe.
Yeah.
But then he had the other toe, the other foot, and another toe on the other foot.
Now he's ahead.
So this year, it's just been really tough for him, and you could see it weighs on him. At the same time, on the defensive side of the ball.
I saw
yesterday.
The video you posted. I'm
trying to be
you got 5 fouls on you. What are you going to do?
5 fouls, yes. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible because he got off to a great start last night. It was actually pretty cool to see. He started out with all those playoff bugaboos. He started out like 5 of 5 from the field. And he also had a big 3 in the fourth quarter that took the lead to 7, where you're thinking, oh, my God, they're going to eliminate Steph Curry. And then, of course, Steph does stuff that Steph does. Al Horford hit 4 threes, I think, in the fourth quarter. So Golden State comes from behind. That's just it. Darius is done. They got to figure out what's next for the Clippers. I know no one here cares about the Clippers, but that is kind of how we judge. And this big trade is monitoring both teams going forward.
And I think, Andy, you got to think about how we felt about trades in the past, because this is different than anything else. And by the way, Andrew Berry, 11 o'clock today. Also, go to the Fan Mock Draft tonight, 7 p.m. Game on in North Olmsted. A lot of people are going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic time. Even if you don't have a team for the Fan Mock Draft, you can still get a team because there's always standby. Somebody doesn't show up, you might be able to get a team. So we'll see how it goes. Can't guarantee a team, but stop on by. It's a fun time presented by the fine folks at Bud Light. So going back to what you just said, usually, like when they made the trade with Francisco Lindor, okay, there's a lot of trash talk out the door. You remember that, the story about him falling asleep and all the other stuff. I've gotten over that. People got upset because he didn't want to be called Frankie and all that other crap. When it comes to Darius Garland, we fought over Darius Garland. We fought about Darius Garland. But I didn't have a problem with Darius. I didn't really have a problem with Francisco Lindor. The only problem that Francisco Lindor had is that I don't think he really wanted to play here. And when they found a way to move on, it seems that, hey, we're the team that is just as good as what the Mets are, and the Mets are spending way more money on him than they are and Juan Soto than we are on our team. So what's it really matter in the grand scheme of things? This is different. I think a lot of us wanted it to work out with Darius Garland. He's number 4 overall pick, for crying out loud. Seems like a fine young man. I know that there's always been questions about how seriously he takes going to the playoffs, competing, being a champion. I think right there, that was a grown-up moment right there when he said what he said, because you're talking like a guy who's in his late 30s saying, I can still prove what I got here. I'm still one of those guys. And this guy's still in his mid-20s. Talking like that, like Darius Garland.
Yeah, you don't want this to go the way of like Brandon Roy, who had all that talent, but by for him, I think it was year 6 or year 7, he had debilitating chronic injuries, and he was never going to be able to really play, and then he had to retire early. That's not Darius doesn't have to retire early or anything like that. But the thought is of somebody like Darius is you're building a team around him as maybe the second best player. And I don't know if that's going to be possible if you can't simply rely on him getting through the season and being available.
I think that's an absolutely fair point, and that's why you make that move.
Remember, Kenny Atkinson said a few days before Darius got traded They had a big meeting. I remember Chris Fedor did the reporting on this, I believe. They had a big meeting, and they said from the organization down, we as an organization are making no more excuses for injuries.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't come from nowhere. Like, they obviously thought there were guys in the past that maybe had been doing that, and they basically said, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your injuries. People that talk about the Cavs this year, they certainly don't care. Like, they've been one of the most injured teams in the NBA, and no one seems to care about it. No one's giving them a pass.
Our own fans don't care.
I've tried to give them a little bit of a pass and say this regular season actually was miraculous considering the injuries.
It's pointless, and we just got done arguing with Deshaun in Cleveland about the realism versus the hope when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. You can sit there and hope all you want that we're going to give him a pass over the injuries. They'll give you a pass once. They gave the Cavs a pass in 2015 over injuries. They ain't giving you a pass now. No, you can't do it. It's been 5 years. That's it. You can't do it. As bad as it is, and God forbid something bad happens. You'd be right. This is the first time they practiced with a full roster with James Harden since they got James Harden. That's 2 months, guys. This is the first time they've been able to do it. That's an incredible amount of time. Incredible. So finally you're healthy. But going back to the trade, they did what they had to do. Like, I'll have to defend Kobe Altman and Kingdom Come because I didn't know that there was any other possibility. I didn't even know that James Harden was available at that time, to be honest with you, at least for Darius Garland. But you had to do what you had to do because some people took it as, my God, you take this guy who's 36 years old. He's an also-ran. He's a has-been, quote-unquote. And I think a lot of people didn't see James Harden. And frankly, there's been a lot of nasty things being said about James Harden here over the last 3 years. Let's not act stupid. I'm telling myself, I don't need to act stupid with you. The strip clubs, wings, out of shape, not fun to watch. You bring it up, not fun to watch. The foul merchant of what he is. And so when you don't watch a lot of the other teams of the NBA and he's playing on the West Coast for the last couple of years, you're not going to get a chance to see. The Clippers are not must-see TV to me, and they really have never been. Even with Chris Paul, even with Blake Griffin, they've never been that team. The Lakers, when I was up, when I was doing the night show,
Darius Miles and Lamar Odom.
I'm dead, and I like Darius Miles, okay? But even when I was doing the late show, when I was doing nights, it was Golden State. When they were first coming up, it was the Lakers. It was Portland. That's Suns. That's who I'm watching. I didn't care about the Clippers. And it's still that way. So no one's watching James Harden. So all you do is you hear nasty things about James Harden because that's all people had to say. He's obviously been a fantastic player and a pretty good teammate here with this basketball team so far. It's early. We'll see where it goes. And it speeds up the clock because he's 10 years older than Darius Garland. So people don't like the clock being sped up on this. They want to elongate it as much as they can. But you had to do what you had to do because the guy just admitted in front of God and everybody you're playing with 10 toes.
I have said, though, with, unfortunately, the constraints.
9 toes.
The constraints of the new CBA, the clock was already going to be sped up because you couldn't put a team together and have all this money tied up in your super max deals and your max deals with Evan Mobley, Donovan, and Darius. They were going to have to pivot off somebody anyway. Now, you might not be happy that they ended up pivoting off somebody that was a two-time All-Star, young, but they were going to. Would you rather have them say goodbye to Donovan Mitchell? And then what? Your core is a banged-up, often injured Darius and Evan? How many wins is that team going to win?
Well, if you say goodbye to Donovan Mitchell at that point, you're just spinning out of control. Now, if you don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be interesting to hear what some fans feel about all this. Because I do think, you guys know I rip on Kendrick Perkins a lot, and I think you guys play him just to get me going at times, like I'm a wind-up doll for you, for the producers and our boss. But he did make a point, they've done a lot for Donovan Mitchell. They've done a lot for him. They made a lot of trades, a lot of moves. They did a lot for LeBron, but I do happen to agree with Kendrick Perkins. I think they've done more for Donovan Mitchell. And if you don't get as far, I can't guarantee a championship. I can't guarantee NBA Finals. Donovan is not LeBron. But if you can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think some people, they might hear all this, and if you can't get there, and they might just go, you know what the hell are we going through all this hell for? What are we doing this for? Maybe you're not a number one. LeBron, you never questioned if he was a number one. That never happened. It never happened. And there's certain guys you never question whether or not they're that guy. And that's why they are all-time greats. Him, Michael, and then a couple of other guys, end a list. With Donovan, you're at a crossroads right now. Whether or not you're a number one that can lead a team to a championship, or if you're going to have to get into that passenger seat and do that. This year's going to be a critical year for them. That's why they have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, because I want to elongate that. But that's still going beside this. What Kobe Altman did when this comes down to the end of this season, whether they go to the NBA Finals and win it, or they just go to the Conference Finals, whatever. I will have to defend Kobe Altman on this. And there's things that are definitely coming back on Kobe Altman with this team. But you were stuck in a rock and a hard place. He was more injured than what we wanted to let on. He was more injured than what anybody was saying. When Darius Garland said that last night, he let you guys all in about what it's been over the last 2 years. He's been dealing with this injury, and it's never going to get better.
Well, but one thing I will ask then is when I'm watching yesterday, him bounce around and shoot those step back, sidestep threes, and seem to be able to do it with ease. Like
you can run on adrenaline and cortisone.
Well, if he's saying that, well, I'm doing that on 9 toes, is that still maybe just in his head? Because he looked fine. Physically, he looked fine. He's looked fine ever since he got traded to the Clippers. So then it begs the question, like, is this turning into a more... Last year during the playoffs, yes, that was physical. No doubt. Like, you could see him laboring. I haven't seen him labor since he's been a Clipper. And then it makes you wonder, is it more in his head? And if that's the case, how does he get past that? Because he's going to get banged up again. Then that almost causes a whole nother set of issues.
Yeah, that does. 216-474-0092. BP and Pepper Pike, you're next up in the Fan.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, BP. Go right on ahead.
Great topic. I stayed up late, watched that game. I wanted to see how Garland was going to do. And, of course, he came up short in a big game. I mean, he had 5 fouls. I don't know why. He doesn't guard anybody, but I'm a fan of Garland.
Well, he was trying to yesterday. I think he was playing his ass off because I think he understands the role. Real quick, BP, I'm going to let you back in. I think he understands the role and the questions that are being brought up about him. I think that was a really emotional night last night for Darius Garland.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been kind of like a poor man Steph Curry. And, of course, who was he going against? Steph Curry. And, of course, who won? Curry had 35 points. He pulled it out again. I hate the guy, but he always pulls it out. The guy's incredible. But, I said last night on Twitter, right after the game, I said, Darius Garland's already out of the NBA playoffs, and we haven't even begun yet with James Harden and the Cavs. So it's just kind of, that's why I'm optimistic. I want to see how Harden's going to do. To me, he's the X factor for the playoffs, We know it. Yeah, so great job. Let's see what happens. Looking forward to Saturday.
BP, thank you very much for the call.
We got to be fair.
You can't question BP. He knows ball.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do the thing here, but BP's a ball knower.
He is. Ball knower.
Lots of ball knowledge. Lots of knowledge here.
And this show has cultivated a lot of that, I think, in this town, which is good. I can't say that for everybody, but I do think our listeners,
we go one effing show without you taking a shot at them.
So,
one.
I do have to be fair here. What happens if Harden is atrocious in this series or in these playoffs? Are we going to have to go back and revisit all of this? So I want to be fair.
Record all this. But I'm still going to defend Kobe Altman. One guy has a track record where he's had a handful of bad games in the postseason. He's also had a bunch of 30-point performances. How many did you bring? You had the number off the top of your head, didn't you, in the postseason? And plus, that guy's been asked to be a number 1 before. Yeah. James Harden has been asked to be the leader of a team before. He's not. Darius Garland's never been asked to do it. I think Darius Garland wants to do it. He's not asked to do it. There was one little point where we thought he could have been the guy, and then they traded for Donovan Mitchell, and so you guys all knew the score. To the point where we thought that maybe Darius was going to get upset. You remember those conversations we would have with Jason on the air, where we thought that Darius might get upset, where, oh my gosh, this was supposed to be my team. You get rid of Colin Sexton, but you bring in Donovan Mitchell. That all went out the window in about 15 minutes on the air. So Darius is at a crossroads for his career just because of his own health. Donovan's got to get it figured out, obviously, and obviously James Harden has to go with him on this. So this is where I penciled him in for the finals. I'm not going to take that back. I'm going to wear it. That was before Jason Tatum, but I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for myself because they're not going to make excuses for the Cavs. Here we are, and it's going to be up to James Harden to raise up to the level of expectation that a Cavaliers fan has, and that's dominance against the Toronto Raptors. Let's call it what it is. It needs to be a 5-game series against Toronto, and then we'll see what happens against Detroit, but it should be a win against Detroit. Might be a tougher series, might be 6, might be 7, but it's got to be a win against Detroit, and then we'll see where it goes against Boston. Coming up in 5 minutes from now, in honor of Les Levine, Lima asks, how come there are no hail-sized golf balls? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. And
5 a.m. starting Monday, April 20th. It's the Fan Warm-Up Show with Jeff Thomas. All the latest from the night before in Cleveland sports and getting your day started even earlier. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Tomorrow, a question I was gonna get into it today, and then we started talking about smelling salts, and former NFL football players were texting us about ways to get around the smelling salts, and we should definitely do smelling salts on the air, and he would like to watch us on the YouTube doing the smelling salts. But Lima told me, I'll say this real quick. So we got game 1 on Saturday, right? Right. I'm going to Youngstown Saturday morning, and I texted my friends, and I go, I gotta watch a game. And Lima's like, last 5 minutes. I went, whoa, no. So don't say anything yet. Yeah. We'll do it tomorrow morning. Because then there was the story goes even deeper when my son's godfather texted me back because he gave me like a, what the F are you talking about? Because there's another part to this story. But that's tomorrow morning on the Fan.
Make you an offer you can't refuse.
Oh, just because we're going to Youngstown, really? You're going to be stereotypical?
The Godfather.
Oh.
That's what I'm stereotyping.
Oh. I didn't know. I saw the news during the day today. The bashed out window. Did you see the house that has no windows in the house?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which Lima asked, how come there are no hail-sized golf balls? Hailstorm came through yesterday.
Good marketing opportunity.
It brought back some memories. I can't say exactly what my dad did. But we had a hailstorm in Stark County years ago, and my parents had that old aluminum siding that used to make the big bang if anything hit, and the old stuff. And I mean, my parents celebrated like they won the lottery because we were getting new vinyl siding. Exactly.
Understood.
I know. Yeah, I know.
We played that game before.
They were really excited for that hailstorm. The car was a total loss, but they were fine with it because of the house. Anyway, that's my story when I was a kid. But we have hail damage here in Northeast Ohio. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the side of the road as I drove home yesterday.
All that hail, all that rain, all that wind caused damage in places like Bedford and Solon. News 5's Kaylee Olivas shows us what she found.
My entire Tesla roof was so close to just shattering all over me.
Not just his, but dozens of others. Another driver caught in the storm.
I've been here for 22 years. I've never seen nothing like this.
Denham Whitted says their windshield is spider-webbed from Wednesday's golf ball-sized hail. The side mirror also broken, and the taillight is cracked.
It started raining hard. I felt like I was in a tornado. The light started shaking. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? Light started shaking and all the power turned off. Then it just started hitting the house hard. It sounded like gunshots hitting every single point in the house.
Thankfully, no one we talked to was hurt. An even bigger sigh of relief, though, for everyone, the fact they have insurance.
So my car is getting fixed tomorrow. Geico. You feel me?
For News 5, I'm your Cuyahoga County reporter, Kaylee Olivas.
That's a really nice attitude to have about. I'm serious. Yeah. At least you saw it on the bright side.
Did you like
audio courtesy of News 5?
Did you like that the guy made sure to tell everybody his Tesla roof? I wouldn't say that about my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I wouldn't be like, my Jeep Grand Cherokee window got shattered.
Well, you drive around with the doors off. Oh, wait, it's Grand Cherokee. Never mind.
That was the Wrangler, yeah.
There's a little difference. It's an all-glass roof.
I know. It's just funny that he's like, my Tesla. It's like, well, we see the picture. We see the video. We know what it is. How many times does that guy say Tesla a day in different walks of life?
Hold on. Do you buy a Tesla without trying to talk about it?
I think it's a big part of the marketing.
Well, yeah, I hate to sound like Superintendent Chalmers here, but how are people going to know it's a Honda?
As long as you don't wreck it into a month or two into it.
You know, that guy listens in the morning down in Atlanta, and he will drive up here. He's
not in a Tesla.
I've actually found a driver worse than LaMelo Ball, and we used to work for him. I'm sorry. I had to do it. It was a terrible situation. I couldn't believe it because it's always, I hate it because I usually walk around Fox 8 like I'm basically the slider of the TV station, okay? Nothing I do is serious. Nothing is serious. And I'm a giant distraction. I try to sit down and be quiet. You can ask one reporter. He doesn't like me. But I hate it when the bad weather comes in because I could just see the real news people starting to do their thing. And I'm like, well, they're no use for me anymore. It's like if someone had a heart attack at a birthday party. I'm like, well, I guess Big Bird's got to leave the party now. This ain't no fun. So I watched that, and I could not believe the pictures that people were sending of the golf ball size hail or the hail size golf balls.
Oh, I saw the roofers were out and about on Facebook yesterday.
Yeah, hell yeah, you got to be. It's that time of year,
ready
man.
to pounce.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Speaking of infrastructure, Greg and Independence.
We're going to have that left to right motion, so it's going to weird.
Greg.
Greg,
you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What were you talking about, left to right motion?
Oh, sorry, I was at work.
It's okay.
I work on wheels. I got some bent wheels. But anyways, I wanted to call in about the thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I wanted to call in about the Burke Lakefront thing.
Yeah, why not?
I think
one big auto body shop.
They should keep the airstrip, make kind of another park, and bring back the Grand Prix of Cleveland. You can get IndyCar, NASCAR
what
back
about
here.
F1? Can we get F1?
No,
Cleveland?
You're not getting F1 here. You could get IndyCar back.
Probably not.
IndyCar, dude, IndyCar and NASCAR would be an awesome matchup.
Greg,
doubleheader.
You know you're shooting
Let
fish
them go
in a
against
barrel
each
when
other.
you're talking to
Have
me.
we seen a race with both?
I'm talking 2-mile demo derby. Let's do it.
Would you two stop being so
that
stupid?
Works too.
Can we get Bigfoot out there?
Greg, thank you very much. Greg, didn't he set the record? Didn't Bigfoot set the record for the biggest jump?
For being on the air too long.
No, you leave Greg alone. He came up with a good idea. Bigfoot set the record for the biggest jump at an airport. Jumped over 747. Also, Gravedigger and Bigfoot don't get along. They're not in the same.
They're not
group.
getting along right now.
Well, they haven't gotten along in quite a while. One's with one.
Bigfoot.
Listen, dude.
Feuding.
When you got a son like I got a son, my middle son, you know all these differences.
What's USA One think about all this?
Well, I was gonna say, was there a female monster truck that got in the way?
I'm sorry, but
monstrous truck.
If anybody knows anything about monster trucks, you're gonna have to pull off to the side of the road after what you just heard Owen said. I hope you caught it.
Oh.
Snake bite, Carolina Crusher.
Oh yeah, Carolina Crusher. I like that one. I like the colors.
There was Son of a Gravedigger.
El Loco's torn up.
El Toro Loco. They're coming to town. Mastodon.
Do they wear a mask?
Sharknado.
No, that's a band.
No, Mastodon's a band, yeah, but there's another one in there, a monster truck called Mastodon.
Sure.
I don't know. Eli's got them all, man. Eli, he seriously has 100 monster trucks. And I know all the differences. Yeah, you see.
Congratulations on all your success.
If you see Gravedigger and Bigfoot in the same area, folks, you have made history. They do not get along. They're like Chris Paul and the L.A. Clippers. Did you see that social media post last night?
Yes, I did.
Am I out of base? Am I off base if I say right before the end of the show that Chris Paul may be a little overrated?
Ooh.
Hall of Famer. 100% Hall of Famer.
Well, hey, the guy you're hearing right now, Shepdog, he said last night on a different radio station, he said Ty Lue is a Hall of Famer.
Shepdog said he's a Hall.
Yes, he did.
Of what?
I thought NBA.
Of basketball?
Can Shep be a rock and roll Hall of Famer with this rap?
In 24 more years.
Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Mary Kay Cabot was exceptional. We got a lot of guests tomorrow. We got Cavs getting ready for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs tomorrow. Hopefully we won't have to talk about anything crazy or silly with the Browns other than the draft. Please don't do something stupid. Don't entertain anything stupid either. Let's just get to it. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10. For Big Country, for Jeff, for John, for his tree farm, for the Slippery Wizard Anthony Lima, I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day. Go Guardians. Need a win today. Need a win.
It all sounds good, right? But so does me being 6'5" and, playing in the NBA. That sounds really good, but I'm not 6'5", and I don't have the athletic ability to play in the NBA.
Hey,
Sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy. That sounds really good.